She was off on an adventure as grand as any ever undertaken by an Aes Sedai.
What? Moiraine's an Aes Sedai? I never could have seen that coming.
What? In this economy?
What? Why are you starting with that?
Well, now it's out of the way, so you're not gonna be like, when's she gonna throw it in there? You know, I'm doing you a favor.
It's not. That doesn't make any sense.
It does. An Aes Sedai in this economy? Jesus Christ.
But I hate this so much. This bit is killing me.
I know.
I just wanted to start the show, and now I'm like upset.
But now this is like out of the way, you know. You don't have to worry about it anymore.
That does not promise that you're not going to say it again. It's not like you say it once a day. What's up, Internet? My name's Nerdy.
And I'm Clarus.
Troy Hallett, thank you for that super chat.
Thank you for the super chat. Let's go.
I missed the last stream live, but if Lan went to Dave & Buster's, I think he would rock Fruit Ninja.
You know what? I'm gonna go with that. That sounds about right.
I agree with you.
Fully in frame.
You know what? Stop pushing it into the keyboard. I agree with you. I think Lan would rock Fruit Ninja.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely can see that being the case.
Yeah. What's up, Internet? I already said my name. This is the Nerdy, the Wordy, the book club. I didn't realize that title card was going to play right when I switched over to this scene, and so we're doing things a little bit differently today. And because my wife makes terrible jokes. This is the first of 2 episodes of New Spring, the shortest book club we're ever going to do. That's not true. That's probably not true.
The shortest book club we're ever going to do?
That's not even true because we did a one-off at Star Wars Celebration last year, and we're doing a one-off this year at Star Wars Celebration again.
True.
If you are going to be at Star Wars Celebration, come say hi when we do our book club about Battle Scars.
Yeah, we're going to London.
Yeah, the upcoming Sam Maggs novel, which is very exciting.
Yes, we're really looking forward to it. It's like the in-between Cal Kestis story between Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor.
Yeah.
We're really excited that we got asked back to do a panel again. So that it's, you know, we were PG enough.
Lids says, Nerdy, your shirt looks so comfortable. Yes, Lids. I did get the extra large this time, and I am in the process of losing weight. So this one is it's a little bit big on me. I might order another one to have a large as well. But in terms of like a around the house shirt, the extra large has been very nice. But I think I'm gonna get a large for Comic-Con because I'm planning by JordanCon, guys. I'm planning on being like a little bit yoked, if you know what I mean. But yeah, this is our only Dark Friends Spoil the Wheel of Time shirt. And if you look at the back, can they see that?
Yes, they can.
It's got all of the titles with little boxes, so you can check off what Wheel of Time books you've read, so no one can spoil you, or they can, but so they shouldn't. Unless they're assholes.
So they don't do it by accident.
Blue,
welcome back to the Nerd Table.
Welcome back to the Nerd Table, my friend.
In this economy, we'll never get old. Thank you, especially in this economy.
See, that is actually an appropriate use of the joke. Here's the thing. If you were using the joke well, I would enjoy it.
Well.
But, like, it's the fact that you just say it.
Whatever.
When you don't have a joke to make, so you just say in this economy.
That's why it's funny, because it doesn't make sense.
They think it's funny because they hear it like once a day. I don't, because we'll be like eating dinner and she'll be like, peas in this economy? And I'm like, peas aren't expensive.
I have never.
Like if you said eggs in this economy, hilarious.
I have never done that. Somebody asked about the colors that the shirt comes in. It comes in all the Aes Sedai colors, including black.
Yeah.
So actually, the one that I have is
all the Aja colors.
The Aja colors. Yes. That's the one. Yeah. Cheers.
All right. Well, this is New Spring, Part 1. We read chapters 1 through 14 of the prequel book to The Wheel of Time. And Clarus, we're a little over halfway through the book, just because of where the split is. Yeah, I gotta ask.
Almost 2/3.
What do you think of New Spring so far?
Good things, Robert Jordan. Very proud of you. I think I only read breasts twice in this book.
Yeah.
So far. It's well done. It's fun, right?
Yeah, there's a couple of weird things in it that we'll get to eventually, but on the whole, I think that this book is the most I've enjoyed reading Robert Jordan in months.
Yeah.
And that's really just because it is. Look, I like Robert Jordan's writing style from the early books. And the thing that got so frustrating about what everyone calls the slog, and, you know, back when I was like, we're not going to feel the slog, we did. The thing that was missing from those books was any sort of pacing or succinct storytelling. And I think that what is so refreshing about reading New Spring after reading Crossroads of Twilight is that other than a few asides to Lan and like one weird aside to Swan,
I liked it, but
it just was in the weirdest place for me.
Okay.
I'm like, because it asides to Swan at like the least. We'll get to it, but it's like the least important part of her story. And also Lan is the same. Like Lan has the weird. We're gonna talk about the Lan asides.
Chilling.
But they're so strange because it's literally like Lan. Nothing happens here.
Blue, thank you so much for 5 gifted memberships.
Blue, thank you for gifting members to the community.
Turning that check green. Let's go.
Let's go. But because this book is like about Moiraine and about Moraine's story and what she wants and what she doesn't want, Robert Jordan's writing is like focused on moving a story forward.
Yeah.
And when he does that, it's actually very fun to read.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't mind the like overly described hallways and things like that because it's in service of something.
Yeah.
And I've been missing that for books is like Robert Jordan pushing a plot forward. And when he does actually do it, it's awesome. Like I really enjoyed reading New Spring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. There was even a moment, honestly, when the like very detailed description I was I actually was really like, this is actually kind of cool. And it was the moment where Moiraine is describing Tarvalon and the White Tower in detail when venturing outside. And I actually think that it worked so well. Like normally, like there have been times in the other books where my eyes kind of like glaze over and I'm like, okay, yeah, I get the general like gist of this. But I feel like, honestly, I've devoured every word so far. So...
Yeah, I think that Robert Jordan's descriptions aren't the problem. I think that it is Robert Jordan... I know, I saw that. Do not comment on Fabu's comment. We're banning our mods. I think that Robert Jordan just needs the restraint to know when to use it.
Yeah.
Because there are times when the over-describing is really awesome. And then there are times when it is carpets, and I legitimately do not care which corners they turn to step on which color carpet, right?
Yeah.
And I think that it's about restraint in... And this book shows a lot more restraint than I think that the main series novels have for the last few. And it is just... I feel like I'm being negative in being positive, but I just mean that to say that like when he is like on it, he really is on it. And if you haven't read New Spring because you're like, oh, it's a prequel, I don't really care, I do recommend it.
Yeah, I recommend it as well. It like, the story isn't really a mystery to us. The thing is, we know what happens with Moiraine, right? At least enough. Like, there are things that we already know because of the previous books. And so, if you're looking for, like, a story that, like, is gonna have twists and turns and stuff to figure out, this is not it. Whereas the main series is definitely more of that. But if you don't mind, like... I know some people don't like prequels because, like, I already know what happens to this character, and that's, like, a big turnoff for them. And that's totally cool. If that's for you, then, yeah, maybe you're not going to enjoy this book as much. But for me, it's I've loved getting Moraine's perspective, because she didn't really get a lot of POVs at all. They were very few and far between, if even, like, maybe there's, like, 1, maybe 2? Like, I don't know. I'm like trying to remember if we even got Moraine's POV, but seeing her in The Eye of the World versus seeing her in this, and how she's changed and how she is different, and seeing like what she's going to grow into, I personally find really exciting. Yeah, the one like the only kind of like thing about the story so far that I wish was a little bit different was I wish there was an element of the story that I didn't know the ending of. Yeah. Like we're halfway through the book, and all of the questions raised by the novel about these characters' journeys, I know what happens to all of those questions. We don't know how Lan and Moiraine meet up. Yeah, we do. They meet in the north. Lan is like Moiraine saves him somehow, but like I want to know what that is. You know, I'm actually really interested in finding that out.
Sure, but we do know that they there are no. What I find really fun in prequels is when you introduce some questions that the audience who's read the original work don't have answers to. And like the big questions from the beginning of this book so far are, will Moiraine be the queen of Cairhien? No. We know that, right?
Yes.
Does Moiraine become Aes Sedai? Do Moiraine and Swan become Aes Sedai? Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
we knew that
and
happened.
Like it's interesting how that happened, and it was fun to like learn about the test that we'll get into. Because what a test.
Yeah.
But like I wish there was a little bit. I wish there was a mystery in this that was a self-contained mystery that wasn't spoiled for the future.
Yeah,
whereas,
I think that's fair.
I know that Swan becomes the Amerlin seat, so like making like the Amerlin seat someone else is only interesting in so much as how does she die?
Yes.
Like,
my only other kind of small, I would say, complaint. I would use that term loosely. This book makes the White Tower feel very small. Because
and idiotic.
Well, okay, yeah. The Aes Sedai are dumb, but we already knew that. Like that's not that is nothing.
I know, but
stupid.
This book goes out of the way to be like the Aes Sedai system is nonsensical.
No, it sucks. In case you didn't realize,
Sandon Glock the fuck you.
Thank you for coming back to the nerd table for a whole year just for that.
Guys, stop using money to troll me. I'm just gonna get angry. And you won't like me when I'm angry.
Oh please. You don't get angry.
I got a little snippy on Tuesday.
You get heated, but you don't get angry.
Yeah, I get snippy.
You get passionate.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. We, like 90% of the Aes Sedai names in this book, I, like, recognized, and I was like, oh, wow, the White Tower feels very small.
I agree with that,
Because we know, like, all of these people, which is fine. I don't know how I feel about it, I guess.
Well, and one of the interesting things that we've talked a lot about throughout the book club is how old the Aes Sedai get and the like passing down of knowledge and the lost knowledge of the Wheel of Time.
You turn 300 and then you drop dead.
Literally just drop dead.
Orchid Eater, welcome back to the nerd
Orchid
table.
Eater, thank you.
Thank you.
Add a new, thank you for that super chat. This book really highlights how bad Moraine's spy rot, lack of ability to trust got during her journey, and how it almost cost her actual mission. I do like that. Yeah.
Totally. 1,000%. And you see why.
Yeah,
I totally
100%.
see why.
I'm not saying that like there's nothing to learn in this movie or in this book. I'm just saying I wish there was a mystery in this book that wasn't directly tied to the main series. I think that prequels that tie every single beat that happens in them to the main series suffer from, I know what happens to that character Idis, right? And
yeah,
I think that in some ways that's the problem with parts of the Star Wars prequels, right? Where you're like, well, I know what happens to all of these characters because they're either alive or dead in the main series, the OG. And I think that infusing prequels with something new is important. And in the first half of this book, at least, I didn't feel like there was anything set up that is going to be a self-contained story within this book that I don't know the answer to. Yeah.
I also have questions about the whole ageless space thing.
Because, yeah, me
too. Because, like, you know, like, these characters don't have it yet. They just got that, you know, they're new. But there are also some Aes Sedai who don't have it. But then there are also some Aes Sedai who do have it, who've been there for, like, 3 years. And it's very ambiguous to me, and I wonder if we're gonna get an explanation for it, or if it's just gonna be a mystery.
But hear me out. Moiraine ends up with an ageless face 20 years from now.
Yes, we know that.
There are girls in the White Tower who are novices and accepteds for like 20 years.
And they don't have
And they don't have the ageless face. So like the fact that the Aes Sedai have... We know it's Theothrod.
Yeah.
We know it's Theothrod because of the main series books.
Yeah.
But like the fact that the Aes Sedai haven't figured that out yet is insane to me.
Well, no, they probably know. They just don't talk about jack shit with one another.
That's true.
So if someone doesn't figure it out, oh, okay, well, too bad, so sad, fuck you.
This book really highlights how incompetent the White Tower is.
Truly.
On so many weird structural levels that you're like, you're all adults. Like, talk. How have you allowed it to get this bad? And this whole book, Moiraine is like, wow, like,
This is worse than Kyrian.
The White Tower's kind of falling apart around us.
Literally, she's like, the White Tower's failing. I wonder if anyone else has noticed.
And she's like, well, the old people haven't figured out a solution, so I guess I won't try.
There's nothing I can do.
Yeah, and you're like, maybe try. I don't know.
Yeah, you're smart, Moiraine. Eric, welcome back to the Nerd Table. We have to reuse the joke because we can't afford new material in this economy.
You guys, I will end the book club.
I will make
turn this
in this
stream
economy
off.
button. I'm gonna have a button that does it for me.
Oh my god, you are so lazy that not only will you not come up with a joke, but you won't even tell your bad joke. You're gonna have a computer do it for you.
No,
You're gonna leave the jokes to AI.
This is gold.
You're gonna let AI take over our podcast.
I could do stand-up with this shit.
You could not.
I could not do stand-up.
I would pay all of the money to watch you try and do stand-up,
I
though.
just walk up and I'm like, wow, this stage is pretty big in this economy. Am I right? People would love it. It'd be so bad that people would laugh. You know when the movies are bad and you love them anyways?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that would be my stand-up.
Couldn't be me. That's not my favorite genre of film.
No. That's not why you married me.
Deadsy, thank you for joining the Nargs.
Welcome back for 9 months. If the jokes stop, we boycott. 2 per show minimum. I got a quota to meet. You know? I got to feed the masses.
Are you ready for nothing? All right, shall we start at the top of the book and go through the chapters in order to help us facilitate this conversation a little bit?
Yeah. Let's do it. We talk general thoughts.
New Spring, Chapter 1, The Hook.
Dun, dun, dun.
Speaking of stand-up comedy, do you know what the hook is in stand-up comedy?
It's the got 'em moment. It's like what you weren't expecting.
No, it's the light that tells you to get you're done.
Oh.
Yeah. You're not doing well. Get off the fucking stage.
I thought you meant like hook is like a literary thing and they use it in stand-up.
No, in stand-up the hook is when you get yanked off by a hook, like the shepherds.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I did that once.
What?
I had a dumb bit in school, in like theater school.
You had a dumb bit?
Yeah.
Couldn't have been Clarice.
We were doing a Commedia dell'arte, like kind of like presentation thing or whatever. And for some reason, I got stuck as like the really shitty like tapper who just was like flapping across the floor, like sweeping it. And then they like pulled me off with the hook. It was dumb. But people laughed for some reason. Like I genuinely like theater school is weird. People find the weirdest shit funny.
All right.
Anyways, the hook.
New Spring, Chapter 1, The Hook. Truly, the first half of this chapter, unreal. Let's get into it. Lan surveys his camp, much like Perrin, except that things actually happen while he's doing it. Did you just whisper in this economy?
No, I didn't whisper anything.
I can see you.
Yeah, I mouthed it. I didn't whisper it.
Eyes.
There was no sound.
Okay, I'm trying to do a book club here.
Sorry, go ahead.
Do you want to go off on another tangent?
No, I'm good.
We haven't even gotten to the first sentence of chapter 1.
Nah, yeah, you're right. I'm good.
Jesus. Christ. Lan surveys his camp, and he's going around to his guards who are sleeping on the job, you fucks.
Yeah, he's like, everybody's tired.
And this is immediately better than any other surveying the camp scene we've ever gotten, because there is like a plot to it.
Yeah.
There is action going on in his surveying his camp, and it's really good.
Yeah.
I was like, Robert.
And relationships.
This is how you have someone survey their shit, is you make it matter to the character, and you have there be some tension in it. And so he wakes the guy up, and then we meet Bukama.
Who's the last remaining of the 20 guards that Lan had when he was whisked away as a baby.
Yeah. And
which is like sad, but at least we got to meet one of them.
It's sad, but also it's interesting to me that they survived. Also, Lan brings up that there are other Malkiri in the army, but that he does not lead them. And that he won't lead the other Malkiri. And so I thought, like, by this point, Lan was already the last of the Malkiri. But it seems like there are enough Malkiri that there is a group of them.
Yeah, I mean, when I read group, I figured there was maybe, like, I don't know, like 15. But I could
That's
be wrong.
a lot of people.
Not enough to, like, you know, go back and rebuild a nation. It's kind of just more, it's sad because they're all going to die out.
We know they're all dead within 20 years.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm glad we didn't meet them all to be like, look at all these people who will not survive this.
Yeah. There might have been, like, more. It just, I realized, in my head, it was just, like, literally, like, a handful.
Mm-hmm. And so, while they're walking around, a Terran officer rides up and is like, yo, are you Lan Mandragoran? And he's like, yes. And the guy's like, all right, we need you to come be the anvil, and we're going to be the hammer, and it's going to be really cool. We're going to squish some Aiel.
This is not a euphemism, I swear.
I mean, it is a euphemism.
I use that term for sexual references only. If I say it's a euphemism, it's meant to be dirty. Why don't you know this about me?
I know, but you can't just be like, he doesn't mean that as a euphemism when it literally is a euphemism. Words have meanings regardless of how you use them.
Whatever. I'm the author now.
God damn it, Fabu.
Thank you for that.
Unless I'm wrong about that. Maybe a euphemism... And now you have me second guessing what the fuck a euphemism is. Let's move on.
Never looked into it, to be honest.
This is the worst book club we've ever done.
This is the best book club we've ever done.
I liked this book. I want to say nice things about it. Stop derailing the conversation.
Sorry. Say nice things.
We've had weeks of me being so negative, and I just want to be positive. Talk about how fun this is.
Oh my god, Thorstein.
What happened?
Nothing.
Way to bring up Perrin's dead wife.
Anyways.
So, Lan is like, all right, boys. The beacons are lit. Gondor calls for aid. We ride.
Basically.
And everybody gets up and goes. I liked the detail here that Lan is like, if you're slow, you're dead at this point. So everybody's ready to go really quick.
Everybody's like pretty good. Yeah.
I was like, that's so like dark, but like makes sense.
I did write down one note for this section.
Mm-hmm.
There's the character Rakim,
yep.
who they describe as like taking crazy risks, and like he boasts about his luck.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, is that Matt? Is that like one of Matt's past lives? He just like kind of like got shafted in this one and wasn't very important.
Oh.
I don't know.
He's born.
Because Matt would have been born around this time. So if he dies at some point in like the next few days. Here's the thing. I don't know how
that would involve him dying. Like if he died in this scene, I would agree with you. Okay. But Matt is born this week.
Yeah.
And Rakim, they don't actually. Spoiler alert for what we're about to talk about. They don't actually fight.
They don't fight, but maybe he trips and dies. You know, like he's like got to be reborn again.
All right.
I don't know, but I just it stuck out to me because I was like, luck. I was like, okay, and I wrote it down just because I was like, it could be. You don't know because he doesn't come back up again.
Because men going to war talking about their luck is such a rare occurrence.
In the Wheel of Time, nobody else has except for, like, Matt and his men. At least that I have noticed.
I don't know. Okay.
I don't know. It's probably not, but I wrote it down because I was like, interesting.
So they ride. They get on their horses and they ride to set up an anvil on a ridge. And they get there and they set up and they're ready. And I was like, oh, shit. Yeah. Robert Jordan took my notes about Crossroads of Twilight. And he's starting with like a battle. We're like going into it. I was so stoked. I was reading the book. I was like, New Spring slaps, you guys. Let's fucking go. And then the Aiel come out of the woods and I'm like, oh shit, there's 2,000 of them. There was supposed to be 600. Yeah. This is bad. Shit's about to go fucking crazy. Moraine's gonna show up and like save Lan. And we're like going on this story. And then the Aiel turn up the hill and are like, Anna Lynn, bye. And they just leave. And that's it. That's the chapter.
Yeah.
They're like, deuces. War over, brothers. We're going home.
Yeah, which is weird because, like, that's what they referred to Lan as. So, like, do they know him already? Is this a prophetic
No fucking
thing?
clue.
Very confused. I'm sure we might maybe get an answer.
It's extra confusing because Lan is like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, I read
it and I was like, what?
In the book, Lan knows a little bit of the Old Tongue, which we'll get into the Old Tongue because there's a lot of Old Tongue stuff going on. He translates Anna Lan to mean like one man alone or something. One man alone. And I was like, oh shit, or is this gonna be like Troy? You've seen Troy, right? In the beginning of Troy, if you've never seen it, and in the middle,
spoilers.
It's the first thing that happens.
I know.
I'm not going to spoil what happens in the scene because you have to watch this action sequence. It is nonsense from a choreography standpoint, but it's nonsense done so well that I do not give a shit.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
The two armies meet and they don't want to fight each other, and so they each send their champion, and it's like a winner takes all 1v1.
Yeah.
1v1 me, bro. And Brad Pitt as Achilles steps forward and fights a very, very large man. It's great. They're all like half naked and sweaty. As a young bisexual, I was very happy.
Well done.
I thought Lan was about to go earn the title of Anna Lan because of this scene. I was like, oh, Lan is going to go 1v1 this guy, and he's going to beat the Aiel, and the Aiel are going to leave, and like that's how Lan earns his title. And so I was so hyped. I was reading this like, oh shit, we're about to get Lan 1v1ing an Aiel and earning this epic title that they still, like Aiel throughout the like countryside see him and are like, oh fuck, I heard the story of that 1v1.
Yeah.
That's our fucking Anna Lan boy. Then the Aiel just leave and the chapter ends, and I was like, what? Cool?
No idea what's going on. It's great. I love it for us.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm assuming it's like a prophecy thing that we just haven't been privy to. But yeah, it's like, how the fuck?
It just like it was such a. I was like, oh okay, we're gonna catch up with this later. We don't. We'll get to that. But yeah, that's the first chapter.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. Cool. I like Bukam a lot.
Yeah. He's feel bad for him because he doesn't make it too much longer, but I appreciate him. I love that. Is it in this chapter? No, I think it's later on when they're like, no, let's take 2 years off.
Yeah.
4 months.
We'll get to that conversation when we get to it. But yeah, no, I think that if you're gonna have your inciting incident, have it incite something. Tip for authors: people like when the first chapter ends with a bang and not like a fizzle.
I don't know. It kind of ended with like a mystery, which like I thought was cool, but
would be
I don't.
If that mystery ever comes back.
We'll see.
But the next time we see Lan, the Aiel are still like, no, we're good, we're done.
Yeah.
And you're like, why? I don't care.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
There could have been like, unfortunately, all of Lan's stuff in this book so far could have been Tamara reading a note that said, "Hey, the Aiel are retreating."
Yeah.
And I would have gotten the same thing out of it, except meeting Bukama. So I'm hopeful part 2 will this will be relevant.
Resolved, yeah, or at least come back in some.
Because it isn't in the first 250 pages of the book.
I know. That's classic Robert Jordan.
That is classic Robert Jordan. So we cut to chapter 2, a wish fulfilled. What was the wish? I couldn't figure that out.
I don't know.
They called it a wish. Chat, do you guys know what the wish in this like? Because is it that they are wishing for the Dragon Reborn to be born, or maybe they're just wishing for something exciting to happen? I don't know. I was very confused by the chapter title. I guess
Moiraine was like, "Wow, it'd be cool if we saw a foretelling," and then she sees one, and she's like, "Oh shit, be careful what you wish for."
Oh right, no, you're right. That's it. I'm dumb. That is the most obvious. Yeah, I'm stupid.
No, I thought that was 2 chapters, but I guess I'm remembering that incorrectly.
No, I'm just dumb. I was like, what? No one wished for anything. It was a foretelling. And then
it was a foretelling, not a wish.
They wished to see a foretelling, and then they saw one. Spoilers for this chapter. Moiraine and Swan are just chilling. They're standing in the corner waiting to be...
Yeah, standing, waiting to be called upon to maybe possibly do something useful.
Which I feel like is a risky thing to have them in the room.
I mean...
I just feel... I feel like the president doesn't have someone, like, standing in the room...
A cupbearer?
Just like waiting for him to hear national security secrets on the off chance someone barges in like a moment of like, holy shit, this is happening. And then Moiraine, because this is what happens. There's a super serious foretelling that happens in front of them. And it's like, fuck, you guys should not have been here for this.
Yeah, like they could have been in the room outside with a novice.
Yeah.
Like waiting, I guess. I don't know. It definitely does seem like no one was concerned about them hearing something that they shouldn't.
I mean, and maybe like because this is like decades earlier, maybe that is just a testament to the times that they're in, where things are a little bit less. There isn't a lot of high value intelligence coming in every day. There's no big wars going on. Well, I know they're in the middle of a fucking war. What am I talking about?
Maybe they're only there because of the war. So if something happens, like if something immediate happens, they have two people to be runners to carry messages immediately. Although you would have thought that like the Aes Sedai would figure out a weave to like communicate with people, but
Karlak, thank you for that super chat really quickly.
Karlak, thank you so much.
Moiraine wished for a better economy.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know if she did. She seems rich.
Moiraine is fine.
Moiraine is loaded.
Yeah, which is very fun.
But
thank you for that super chat.
Tamra is our... we should talk about them. Tamra is our Amerlin seat.
Yep.
I've never actually heard that. I don't know that I remember reading that name.
I remember her last name more than I remember Tamra.
Okay.
Ospenia, or however, I think that's how you say it. I don't know. I do remember it being mentioned a handful of times through the series, but I really don't remember much about it. I think Swan like mentions her to Egwene when they're talking about previous Amerlin seats, and when they're in like salad bar. So,
and then Gatara Sedai is also there. She's the keeper.
Yeah,
and that's gonna be important. Just you wait. So they're there in case the Amerlin needs to send a message or if they want tea, and both happen simultaneously. Moiraine is sent to go out to the desk and see what is up with the war, see if any news has come in, which it hasn't.
Surprise!
And the girl outside would have brought news in if there had been some, and Tamra knows that, which tells you...
she's on edge.
She's rattled.
Yes.
And Aes Sedai aren't supposed to get rattled, Tamra.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be calm and chill, Tamra, through your 100 weaves, Tamra. And Swan is sent to make some tea. Obviously, there is no news, and Swan has made the tea. And
she's just reading some smut.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's out there reading some smut, and Moiraine is like, boo. Sneaks up on her and is like, is that appropriate reading? And then we find out later that's her favorite book. Yes. And I was like, fuck off.
Yes, because young girls shouldn't think about men, but Moiraine should, even though Moiraine is 1,000% a Ladala bean.
She's bi. Moiraine is bi.
I don't think so.
No, she talks about the one like guard that she thought was like cute. And she, like, makes out with the guy in her, like, accepted trial, or her Aes Sedai trial. So Moiraine is bi. I think
no,
Swan
that man makes out with her. There is nothing in that says that she enjoyed it. True. She's only embarrassed by it.
I guess she just makes the comment about wanting the guards that take them out. Like, there was a cute one, and she was, like, happy to look at him. And then the one that they got was not nice to, like,
I'm just saying, lesbians can find men attractive but not want to have sex with them.
Yeah, that's fair. I think Moiraine is probably bi, but...
okay, but they're definitely queer.
Yeah.
These girls be queer, okay? Yes. I don't want to hear a goddamn soul in this chat try and tell me that the Wheel of Time TV show made up lesbians with Moiraine and Swan.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to it. They're gay as shit, okay?
Yeah. They're so gay. Like, it's, yeah.
They were roommates.
Yeah.
They were just good roommates. Thank you, Alana.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't want to see it, chat. It's in the book. Robert Jordan wrote it. Not even Brando Sando. Robert Jordan wrote them as being queer. And if you are trying to convince yourself otherwise, you're wrong.
There's a lot of effort going into nothing there.
You're like me with 2 on. You just missed a couple of details.
I guess Swan is also bi because she likes Gareth Bryan.
Yeah. Okay, they're both bi.
It's guys. It's a spectrum. You know, some days you're more gay than others, right?
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah. So Moiraine comes back in. Swan's made the tea, and Moiraine grabs the cup for Gitara, while Swan takes the cup over to Tamra. And as she's getting close to Gitara, Gitara goes full prophecy lady, and is like, the dragon reborn has crawled out of the pussy on the mountain.
Oh, God.
And he is now a babe in the snow. Right now, the baby is so close by.
Wow. That was like 100% accurate.
And
she literally knocks Moiraine over.
Yeah, because Moiraine, guys, I don't know if you guys know this. Moiraine is so small.
Yeah, she's a fucking child, basically. I was like, okay, we get it. Like, I bought a horse specifically that's not very large so I don't look like a baby.
That was one of my favorite details. Just like, I can't ride regular size horses because they make me look like a child.
Yeah, I know. Valis thank you for that super chat. Appreciate it. How would you cast the books with anime characters?
Also, how would you cast the main characters with Muppets? Of this book? There aren't enough female Muppets.
Got him. Yeah. No, I don't really watch the Muppets, so I can't.
Berserker, you forgot Rosebud. That is funny. Do you know what Rosebud is?
Nope.
It's the sled.
The sled? What?
Just like the amount of like pop culture that you just are unaware of, like, will never cease to amaze me.
I don't pay attention. I don't know what you want from me.
You've never heard the word Rosebud used in context to a movie, have you?
To a movie? No.
Wow.
Is it?
Man, nerdy for spoilers. Yeah, I'm so sorry I spoiled a movie that is 90 years old.
What movie?
Citizen Kane.
Don't know it.
Have you never heard of Citizen Kane?
Should I have?
It is like considered by some people who are wrong to be the greatest film ever made.
And it's 90 years old?
I think it's the 30s. Yeah.
I have literally no idea what it is.
You've never heard the word Citizen Kane before? Like, I feel like, do you just like walk around life with like blinders and headphones in so that you don't encounter...
That's what ADHD is. I don't know what to tell you. I spent too much of my time reading Aragon.
Yeah, 1941. So it's 82 years old.
Sure.
I just can't believe you've never even heard the word Citizen Kane before. Like, that's weird to me. How did you go to theater school and not know about... yeah, that's just strange.
Theater school? No.
Yeah, it's just wild. That is like one of those weird, like... Wow. Guys, this is my whole life of me being like, wait, you've never heard of the most popular... Yeah, okay.
No, I have literally no idea. I miss out on so many things.
Young people with their rock and roll and hippity hop.
Oh, man. I also never really watched The Simpsons.
That doesn't surprise me. I'm not surprised your parents didn't let you watch The Simpsons.
Yeah, I was not.
If you weren't allowed to watch Pokemon,
I was not allowed to watch The Simpsons. I have seen a couple episodes, but...
We are not doing a reaction to Citizen Kane. That movie is 3 hours long and almost nothing happens in it.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm good.
It's brilliant. Look, Citizen Kane is brilliant, but in terms of a reaction...
It's not reaction-y?
Yeah.
Gotcha,
there's not like... We would just be sitting there like, Orson Welles is a fucking brilliant actor. If you want to see Orson Welles in a role that I think he's even better in than Citizen Kane, go watch The Third Man. It's really good.
Anyways, we get a prophecy.
And then she dies immediately. Oh, we should read the actual prophecy.
You know what? You're right. Yeah.
He is born again. I feel him. The dragon takes his first breath on the slope of Dragon Mount. He is coming. He is coming. Light help us. Light help the world. He lies in the snow and cries like thunder, like the thunder. He burns like the sun. And then she's dead.
Yeah.
Which becomes an unexpected theme of this book.
Yeah, people just dropping dead.
Aes Sedai just die randomly.
Yeah.
I can't wait for Knife of Dreams when Cat Swain just like dies randomly one night.
Oh my god.
It's gonna be my favorite part of the book.
Arzu, thank you for that super chat. Claire's one's about pop culture. That would be too long.
We actually started that podcast.
We did try. We had a podcast called Catching Up Clarice.
Catching Up Clarus. And
yeah.
it didn't work.
Do well.
It didn't work because it was just me explaining things to you that everybody knows except you. And like as a concept, like it's a funny concept if you can figure out a way to do it. And I just felt like we never nailed that format.
Yeah. yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll try again
and
one
so
day.
we mostly just, in other forms of content, I look at her and go, you've never heard of this very popular thing that everyone's heard of. And she goes, no, I haven't.
No, I usually haven't.
So then Tamra orders Moiraine and Swan to never tell anyone about this.
Yes.
And Swan is like, well, that doesn't mean we can't talk to each other because we already know about it.
Got him.
And sends them away. That's chapter 2.
Yeah, pretty much.
Good chapter. This should have been chapter 1.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think that the first chapter should have been the prologue. I think that the first chapter is interesting. I thought it was interesting and I thought it was well written. I'm glad that Lan was introduced in it so that we kind of knew like the direction of the story because we know that they obviously get together. And that's why it's less exciting, so it kind of fits to me more as a prologue. But I hear what you're saying.
I think that you should start with this chapter.
And then
cut to Lan at the base of Dragonmount, the thing that you just heard about in the epic moment at the end of that chapter, and then the Aiel run away at the end of chapter 2, and you're like, oh, maybe it's because the prophecy just happened?
Yeah.
And like, I think that if you just flip these 2 chapters where they are in the book, then the inciting incident of the book comes first, and the inciting incident of the book doesn't become the Aiel didn't want to fight today.
Yeah.
Which is just a little bit of a letdown at the end of a chapter that I do really like.
Yeah.
And I honestly think if you just flip those 2 chapters, Guitarra dies, and then you cut away to Lan, and you're like, wait, what happened at the White Tower? So that when you come back to the White Tower, you're like, oh, the Aiel are leaving, and there was a prophecy. But having the Aiel just kind of like be like, bye, to start the book was just strange.
I think that's
because there's no context for it unless you've read the other Wheel of Time books.
Yeah.
But if you read New Spring first,
you picked this up first. Can you imagine?
You're like, great, they're not fighting.
Yeah. Because Annalyn, or however you say it, is not like, it doesn't mean anything to you. Yeah. Arzu, thank you for that super chat again. Do you remember Guitar's the same Aes Sedai who gave Rand's mom her prophecy to go to the waste? Yeah, Guitarra has come up several times through the series, mostly in relation to this specific prophecy, but I feel like... No,
and Rand's mom. That's a big one.
I just mean like most of the foretellings are either Eleda or Guitarra in the Wheel of Time so far, because those are the only 2... sure, Egwene, sorry, but I mean like other... not our like main characters. They're the 2. I guess those are the 3 names that I associate with foretellings.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of people have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is fun.
Min doesn't really foretell though, right? Like Min.
It's a different thing. She like sees things and sometimes can interpret them. Sometimes, right. And Nicola, she's a fucking prick. You're right. Min seems to have her own like special
considering
thing.
How rare foretelling is, there are a lot of people in this series who have foretelling.
Min's thing I think is definitely separate, but Nicola is like a new one, right? Like that's and Egwene isn't really foretelling. She's a dreamer. She doesn't have foretellings where she bursts out into like prophecy. She has dreams that can be interpreted. So that again is also kind of different.
Sure.
So yeah. You know, there's like 1,600 Aes Sedai, so the fact that like 3 or 4 of them, that's still relatively small.
No,
in terms of the scope of things. Yeah.
So then we get into sort of the function of the book, which is fun here, which is we actually kind of learn more about how the White Tower works and how the White Tower like teaches. It is also the point in the book where the White Tower really, they shine Robert Jordan was like, I'm going to shine a spotlight on just how not competent this structure is.
Yeah, when you take the Eye of the World and you take New Spring, I thought the Aes Sedai were cool as shit at first, which is how, Egwene gets, roped into it, right? And then you read this and you're like, the Aes Sedai, or the fucking White Tower is a goddamn mess that is falling apart and has, almost no working structure. There's stupid structures within it and stupid fucking rituals and like traditions and shit. But the actual way that the tower functions is absolutely insane.
It's insane, and also like it doesn't seem to serve a purpose. Mm-hmm. And like that's what I find so interesting about it is that the Aes Sedai are truly they don't seem to be doing anything of value except like existing to increase their perceived value.
And you know, they get some people to bake some pies, I guess.
Yeah, I was hoping that reading this book I would be like, oh, I see like what the Aes Sedai are doing behind the scenes to like help other people. And the problem with their whole structure is that it's so selfish and gross. Yeah. Like they call themselves the servants of all, and nothing about how they teach or how they raise people to be Aes Sedai encourages them to even be like slightly charitable towards other humans. They are so inherently selfish and corrupt.
Yeah.
That it like reading the book, you're like, oh, yeah, fuck the. If I was a regular person in Randland, of course you're like, fuck the Aes Sedai. What do they do for anyone? Everything, and not even from like, it's not even hard to see. Every action that they take is self-serving.
The only thing that they do open up is they do open their gates so people can come with their problems or for healing or you know, like little minor things. Like they do have this ingrained
little minor things is correct.
Sure, yes, but little minor things. However, you know, a lot of sisters were out of the tower trying to help with like the war, I think. But yeah, the White Tower is like an absolute mess, and it's probably because the Black Asha have been there since the beginning and just have managed to really fuck things up, right? Like, you know, if you have that time,
yeah, that's true,
to influence, like when you start off, obviously you don't have a lot of influence, whatever. But when you get to 300 years old, and if you're powerful in the power, people have to listen to you, right?
Yeah,
which is bonkers.
Ben Kelly says they're politicians.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what I do? Do you want to know what I think of politicians? I'll tell you.
Would you like to know?
I'm not a fan. Yeah. No, I agree. I just this book we're gonna go through it as it happens, but you're just kind of like,
yeah. Sorry, we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves. But
so they go back to Moraine's room to practice for their Aes Sedai test because Swan's like, look, we need to. First of all, we're gonna be raised to Aes Sedai soon because that one person said we are, and
the Mistress of Novices, she's important.
Yeah, Moiraine. I don't know how to pronounce her name.
Moiraine. I don't know.
Fuck. Another M name. Because in this chapter there's Malin, Morel, and Moiraine.
Yeah.
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 Couldn't have thrown in a Jessica.
It's Marianne. Come on, Marianne.
Oh, here I am on my knees again, 'cause I pulled a prank on an Aes Sedai. Spank me, Marianne.
It's pronounced Moiraine. Oh,
Nick Roach says covert narcissists. They're not that covert about it though. They're gonna practice, which involves the Aes Sedai test involves doing 100 weaves
that are all
do
useless.
nothing.
Yeah.
While being tortured.
Pretty much.
And to practice for this on the regular, girls who are not full Aes Sedai yet torture each other in their bedrooms. This system is so wildly dangerous. Mm-hmm. None of these people are full Aes Sedai.
Yeah.
A lot of them are like brand new to using the power on other people.
Well, no, they've been like Swan and Moiraine have been there for 6 years, which is very fast. So, you know, they're not totally they're not total novices, right? They have trained for like several years.
Sure. Mm-hmm. How many years of training do you think two girls need to know how to torture someone enough but not kill them with a power that they're not fully in control of yet?
Yeah, I don't know. The other
how
thing
many
about...
I said how many accepted girls die in their bedroom because they take their training for this test too far and they don't know how to heal each other.
So here's the thing. I think that is an impossibility. No, they haven't taken
How
the
is
oaths.
that an impossibility?
No, you're right. Sorry, you're right. I was like, no, they take oaths so that they can't actually like harm one another, but they haven't taken oaths yet. So yeah, people probably die. I mean, we know people die in the accepted trials all the fucking time, which is great. But yeah, no, you're right.
Well, no, sometimes they just don't come back. But that happens in the trial for accepted as well.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
because
kind of...
they don't know how the terangrials work.
Yeah, they're just
so
guessing.
People just die.
Yeah. But it just...
And then they're like, well, there don't seem to be that many Aes Sedai around. I want... Maybe it's the girls that we send to their death in the machines that we don't know how they work.
But it also, like, fosters hostility between people who might be potential friends, right? You go too far, and maybe you don't realize it. Like, you know, you're trying... You know, Eleda tries to help or whatever. But, like... taking Eleda out of it, like, take random people. Mm-hmm. Like, you do something, you try something, and... You cross a line, and that animosity stays forever, and that's why no one fucking talks to each other.
But I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about, like, accidents happen.
Yeah.
And like, this feels like it would be accident prone.
Yeah, I know. It feels like people would fuck this up all the time. Yeah.
And Bryce says, couldn't be. This is how it's done. How could this be a bad idea? It's always been like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, I'm not saying, look, I kind of understand what the test is, and I kind of get it. We'll talk about it.
The actual test, yes.
I just feel like practicing in your bedroom should be not okay. Because the amount of intricacies of multiple weaves in a small room with girls who are not very practiced.
Yeah, like, or you practice with an Aes Sedai, a full Aes Sedai only.
This is the kind of thing that is dangerous enough.
Yeah.
And I know that they're like, well, these weaves don't do anything. And I'm like, yeah, but what happens if weaves mix in the room? Like I was reading this and I was like, this is insane. This would be like if like hockey boys were just beating each other with sticks in a room and hoping that nobody broke a bone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
This should be supervised.
Yes. It shouldn't really be the method.
Oh, no, 100% should not be the method.
But it should at least be supervised.
But it should at least be supervised.
But none of the Aes Sedai want anything to do with the accepted or novices. They're like, fuck you guys.
They don't even want to teach.
I know.
They're so fucking like,
And here's the thing. There should be a, like, purple Aja that is the teachers.
Yes, there should be an Aja whose job is to raise Aes Sedai.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Yes, and like, you know, there's a reason that, like, no, you don't just throw parents into homeschooling and forcibly. There's a place that you can go with people who know how to teach others.
Yeah.
If everybody, and okay, this is what I mentioned to you. We're going to get into this. The Aes Sedai learning schooling system is fucking bonkers.
Yeah.
Everybody just teaches a class here or there, but there's no curriculum, there's no structure. Mm-hmm. Like, if I taught a class and then they went to your class, we haven't communicated because we hate each other. Yeah, so you don't know what I've already taught them. Yeah. And it does not make a lick of sense to me. It's
so funny to me that the Black Tower, look, Mazrim Taim, evil motherfucker, right?
Yeah.
Mazrim Taim creates a better system for recruiting magic wielders and training magic wielders in a fucking week than the Aes Sedai have. Mazrim Taim is like, oh, we're going to have classes, we're going to have a system, it's going to be regimented because we're using fucking magic that can kill people.
Yeah.
And the Aes Sedai are like, go to your bedrooms and tickle each other while you try and do things you don't know how to do that cause physical pain when you fuck up.
Yeah.
And I hope there's a yellow nearby if you fuck up real bad to come heal you, or else children are going to be dying under our watch.
Yeah.
Like, some of these are literal children. Some of these are like 17-year-olds with magic that are allowed to go to their bedrooms and do whatever the fuck they want to each other. Yeah. It is an insane system.
Yeah. It really is. Like, I was reading this and I was like, this makes absolutely zero sense. The Black Tower has an enormous death rate because people go mad, and Mazrim Taim is evil. Like, those two things combined obviously make the Black Tower terrible. But at least there is a structure of, like, learning. At least we don't know it in detail, but it appears to be that this has been thought out. You know, Taim has, like, he taught people who then go off and teach people, and he kind of oversees it and probably micromanages. But at least there's, like, there seems to be communication and structure. Now, that could be wrong.
I want to get into that in a sec, but before we do that, Arzu Kashefpor, thank you for that super chat.
Arzu, thank you so much.
The Aes Sedai, the argument... Why is my mouse not working? The argument for your start questioning all your own traditions. The argument for you to start questioning all your traditions, yes.
Yeah.
Here's my thing with the Black Tower. Mazrim Taim is not building a school for children.
No,
he is raising soldiers.
Building an army.
To fight the last battle against the devil.
Yeah.
They are the needs of those two things are different.
Yeah.
If the men, a lot of whom are dying because they're going crazy because the devil is tainting their brains with vile sickness.
Yeah.
If they die in that system, that is a more understandable outcome given the goal than the Aes Sedai, whose goal is to raise young girls to be functioning politicians in their society.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who keep dying because they use a machine that they don't know how it works. Like, their goals are different.
It's fine.
Their goals are different, and so the fact that people die in those two systems are different. But Mazrim Taim has at least a structure that I can understand how it gets to his goal.
Yeah.
Whereas the Aes Sedai, I'm like, I don't understand how any of these girls turn out okay. And this and part of this goes into the Swan. I want to talk about it now because it's relevant to this. Mm-hmm. The Aes Sedai functionally need to have classes in culture.
Yes.
And in like how to behave among different cultures, right?
Yes.
And because when Swan is complaining about the clothes in the dressing room scene, and Moiraine is like, shut the fuck up, that's not how you deal with a dresser. Swan should know that.
That should be like novice classes, you know?
Yes, because once you're Aes Sedai, you have to present yourself as above a court.
Yes.
And you cannot do that if you don't understand the court.
Yeah.
Anton Novo says they do have culture classes, what the fuck? Sure, then maybe Swan just failed those classes.
I guess Swan wasn't paying attention.
The fact that Swan was in the dress scene, complaining about the cost of a dress that is 1 out of the 1,000 gold marks that she has, and that she's trying to not look as like pomp and circumstance as she should. Mm-hmm. You are Aes Sedai. You have to show up. Mm-hmm. You have to be the belle of the ball everywhere that you go because that is the expectation set for you.
Totally.
And it is ridiculous to me that Swan was raised to Aes Sedai without that being ingrained in her.
Yeah, like those are things that like in the grand scheme of like the world and Tarmangaden are trivial, but that's not on people's minds yet, right? It should be about raising people who understand like cultural traditions in every known place.
Yeah.
Even if you don't choose like gray or blue or whatever it is, you know, even if you want to choose red, those should still be like required learnings. Because you make an impression everywhere you go. No, the Aes Sedai have a bad impression in a lot of places, right? So,
well, and it gets into like, you might get a really important job really fast. Mm-hmm. This gets into something in this book that's wild to me. Mm-hmm. Aleida is already the advisor to Andor,
which is like the largest kingdom, probably.
No, it is the largest kingdom in Randland.
Yeah,
Aleida has been an Aes Sedai for like 6 months.
Yeah, I did think that was strange. I assumed she had to like work her way up to that.
Yeah.
But no, they just... Here's the thing. Maybe, throwing out an idea, maybe they sent her there super green so that they could assert as much influence over Aleida as possible.
Maybe, but the problem... And I get that the Reds are the biggest Aja, so they have the most influence. But the problem with that for me is that... it makes the Aes Sedai not make any sense to me because and here's my problem with it. The Aes Sedai seem to have this system of like sitters in the Aes Sedai. Mm-hmm. If you become a sitter before like you've had the shawl for like 80 years, that is a surprise, right? But all of the relevant characters in this book are like 30.
And the sitters should be on par, I think, with like royal advisors. Like, I think that's a very, very important job.
Especially for the largest... Like, look, if it's fucking Murundi that barely has a kingdom, I said I can be whoever. But Andor, your closest country and the largest country, you would think you would want someone who's experienced.
And I know that Aleida and Morghese knew one another, and that definitely helps, and there's a trust bond. But I don't think Aleida should have, like, gone by herself. I think there should have been, like, almost like a supervisor or, like, a teacher in that circumstance to, like, build her up as the long-term advisor for Morghese. Like, but no, she just kind of goes off. And
Anton Novo says Aleida seemed like such a MILF. Aleida's like 27.
Yeah, something like she's not that old because she was I don't
know what you consider a MILF, but like
she was novice for 3 years and then accepted for 3 years as well. And I think maybe so we know that Aleida was accepted when Moiraine was a novice, so she can't have been Aes Sedai for more than 3 years maximum.
No, they overlapped by a year as accepted.
By a year. Okay. So
it's been 2 years.
She's been 2 years, which does seem pretty green for Aes Sedai personally. It does seem strange that she went off to go be the advisor.
Albino says being a MILF has nothing to do with age and all with attitude. I'm pretty sure being a MILF has more to do with having a child than it does with anything else.
I always thought it was... Yeah, but who knows?
I don't know what you guys... God, now I feel old. If we're calling 27-year-olds MILFs, I'm like...
I'll never be a MILF. It's great. It's great. Love that for me.
All right, we need to move on.
It's not that it like didn't work for me. It was just like a strange thing.
But this book just made the White Tower seem very small. It did.
Yes, yeah. Small and even more incompetent. We knew it wasn't competent, but like this really highlights it.
Yeah, so then, what's her face? Not Tamra. Who shows up?
Sorry, I have to pee so bad.
All right, so then somebody shows up and is like, yo, we gotta go. Tamra's gonna make an announcement. And so they run through the halls, even though they're not supposed to run, because that is uncouth, but they do it constantly. They run through the halls to the announcement, and Tamra is like, hey, I need y'all to find every baby that was born nearby recently. We're going to give all those women 100 gold marks to celebrate victory. Because no other reason. No subterfuge. Also, like, I want to know their names and who their daddy is and where they're from. So, girls, go write that down. Get on your horses. Go write that shit. And Moiraine and Swan are like, oh, fuck, we're going to go find the Dragon Reborn boys! Now that Clarce is gone, Nerdy, who you got in the Super Bowl? Fuck. I'm gonna give a slight edge to the Chiefs. I think they're gonna win. I'm a Giants fan, so I hate the Eagles, but I really like Jason Kelce. But I also like Travis Kelce, so I don't know. I just want the Kelce brothers to have good games. I'm really enjoying their podcast, New Heights. If you like football, New Heights, the podcast, is really great. It's like two professional football boys talking with each other about what it's like playing in the NFL every week, and it's fantastic. So yeah, I think the Chiefs are going to win. Patrick Mahomes is a pretty talented boy, and fuck the Eagles because I'm a Giants fan. So then they go and they get on some horses and they ride out to go write down some names, hoping that they're going to find the Dragon Reborn. They want to go to like the far camps near Dragonmount, but Steeler decides that's too dangerous, so they go to a nearby camp, and they spend the day writing down names and pretending to be Aes Sedai, but not like saying that they're Aes Sedai. And then guess who shows up? Aleida.
Oh yeah, yeah. And what's her face?
Aleida and I don't know. The other one.
The other one. They show up.
I didn't write that down.
Aleida is like weirdly obsessed with Moiraine and Swan.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because and what's weird about her being so obsessed is I didn't feel like Aleida was that obsessed with Moiraine and Swan in the main series books.
Well, because they're never together.
Yeah, I just wish that this like tied through the prequel to the main series, and maybe we'll understand why by the end of this book. Like, I don't think we're done with Aleida. But right now, I'm like, Aleida is like all up on their shit for some reason, and I don't really get it.
Maybe she thinks they're hot.
Oh, Aleida's also a lesbian? That would make sense. She's a red.
Yeah, she's definitely a lesbian. But, I don't know. This is very weird.
But, no, I don't want it to be that.
The weird, like, the boys like you if they make fun of you and poke you.
No, I don't want it to be that Moiraine... I don't want it to be that Aleida is, like, sexually attracted to Moiraine, because then it makes her adding so much nudity into Moraine's trial very creepy.
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily like her, right? That's
it is brought up that that is Aleda's doing.
Oh, I thought the man kissing Moiraine was Aleda's doing.
And the dad at the end is like, yeah,
and
there's a lot of, but if
I
Aleda,
think the nudity is just a thing of the trial. I don't know if that's Aleda's hand.
I don't know, but if it is Aleda getting Moiraine naked because she's attracted to her, that is weird.
I mean, Aleda is a terrible person, so
100%. Yeah. I just would rather, yeah.
I don't know. The nudity is just a Jordan thing. Yes, it is.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
Robert. So they write stuff down all day. That's literally all I have to say about that. Do you want to add?
No.
Aleda shows up and is like, you're writing shit down, good, and then she leaves.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
This was, there were a few chapters in this book that I was like, could have been an email.
Yeah. Yeah, we got some really nice character building stuff, though. I mean, we know that Moiraine and Swan are, like, they try to be good people. And so we got the seeds of that.
Moiraine does give some money to people who maybe shouldn't get some. But she's like, oh, your husband died and you have a baby who's sick?
And then she threatens to murder a woman's baby because it's too old to have been born. She's like, yeah, what if I just heal him up? I don't know if he'll make it. I don't know if he'll survive, but I'll do my best. And she's like, oh, never mind.
Arzu Kashefwar, thank you for that super chat. Bringing strong channelers to the Red Aja would win her more clout. Well, that's not how you do it, Aleda.
Yeah,
Congratulations on failing.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have beat the shit out of the people that I wanted to join me, but that's just me. I don't know. Yeah, it's fine.
C. Sarvi says, getting them nude in the trial actually makes sense. It matters whether you can concentrate that way too. I agree with that. I think that, like, if you're pushing someone to their limits, that's why I don't want the nudity in the trial to have anything to do with Aleda's sexual desires of Moiraine. That's why I'm saying I don't want it to be that Aleda is attracted to Moiraine, because I think that I have no problem with the trial pushing you outside of your boundaries with nudity.
Yeah.
Unless it is because one of the people who is administering the trial wants to see you naked. That's where it becomes weird.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I totally get the, like, no, we're going to force you to try and channel naked in front of people because that is going to be a boundary that you are uncomfortable with, and that might be necessary in the future if you're captured or something.
Yeah.
It is making it about Aleda's, making it from Aleda's gaze.
Yeah.
That makes it problematic.
Yeah.
And like, that's not what I want it to be. And so in my headcanon, it isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Also, the fact that they keep calling her child. And I just don't want Aleda to be attracted to someone she calls child, just for my own head.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's a White Tower thing, though, which, like, you're a child even if you're 50 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's an odd one. Yeah.
Yeah, so they get back to the place, to the White Tower, that place. And Moiraine, I can't even pronounce names anymore, is like, hey, I need to talk to you. And she's like, fuck, I'm about to get beat up for something. I don't even know what.
Yeah.
And she's like, yo, you had 3 uncles die yesterday.
Yeah. And Moiraine is like, oh, cool. And she's like, oh, no, you must be in shock. It's fine. Moiraine's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm totally in shock. Oh, no.
But Moiraine is also like, girl, you need to go to Kyrian more. My uncles get assassinated like once a week.
Yeah, this is not news for me.
You know Deus Damar? That shit crazy.
That shit crazy. Yeah.
And so she goes to bed. And she has nightmares about the Dragon Reborn after praying for her uncle's souls. But she can't sleep because of her nightmares. So guess what she does? She grabs her blankie and she goes over to her girlfriend's room. And she cuddles up next to her girlfriend.
Yeah.
Who's like, yeah, come on. Let's go bed. This must happen a lot. Swan is so unfazed by her just appearing in the middle of the night to cuddle.
Oh, this happens all the time. Are you kidding me? They sleep together in the same bed as often as they sleep in separate beds in this.
Lesbians.
Yeah.
So the next morning, they're about to leave. And Moiraine is like, you know what?
You're in shock.
You're sad. So you're not going out there to record names. Instead, you're gonna record names here?
Well, no, Moiraine asks, right? Because Moiraine is like, oh no, I'm very much in shock. I would like to occupy my mind. And she's like, okay, fine. So you can rewrite all the shitty handwriting here.
No, that's not what happens.
Is it not?
No, Moiraine is like, the Amerlin and I have decided that you should not go out. But I don't want you to, like, have nothing to do so that your mind isn't unoccupied.
Oh, right.
So you're going to... We found all these people whose handwriting sucks.
Right.
You're going to rewrite all of this. And I'm like...
Yeah.
So you're taking someone who's depressed, who you think is depressed. Obviously, she's not depressed. And you're saying, instead of being outside in the sunshine, we're going to put you in the darkest fucking room in the basement of this building and have you just rewrite other people's handwriting for a whole day.
Yeah.
That is the most depressing task you could set to someone you're worried is sad.
Yeah, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. They just want to keep an eye on her.
I was like, Moiraine, let her be in the sunshine.
Yeah.
I guess they don't know about vitamin D, but vitamin D is good for depression. If you're like, I've been feeling depressed lately, and you're like, God, I play video games 20 hours a day and I have not been outside, open your window.
Go for a walk. It might help a little bit.
I know it's not what you want to hear. Open your window.
Yeah. Yeah, so then Swan is like, wow, yes, what a great idea. And Moiraine is like, okay, well, you can help her then. And Swan is like, fuck. So they go and they copy lines.
They do. They copy lots of lines.
The vitamin Aja hasn't been invented yet. Hi, Takuna. Oh, God.
So they do that all day. Yeah.
All day, every day. And then, is it in this chapter that one of the sitters comes to have a chat with her?
One of the Greys, Jarna Malari.
Jarna Malari.
Jarna Malari, that's a Star Wars character if I've ever heard one.
Oh my God,
my name's Jarna Malari.
Yeah. She's like, so Moiraine, who's gonna get the throne next? And Moiraine is like, fuck if I know. I haven't been there in 6 years.
Yeah. And then slowly, and she's also like, yeah, my uncle kind of ruined the House Damodred's name.
Yeah.
So, like, my older sister, definitely fucking not. My younger sister, definitely fucking not. She's a good mom, but God, she's an idiot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, throughout the day, a sitter from every Aja comes and checks out. And Moiraine is like, oh, fuck. Oh, God damn it. They want me to be queen. No!
Yeah.
No!
Which we find out, at first I was like, oh, I mean, that kind of makes sense. But Moiraine...
1000% makes sense.
But Moiraine is like, I don't want to be queen because I will become a worse person for it. And I was like, oh.
I don't think that's what she's saying.
Yeah, she's like, I would have to assassinate and kidnap and torture people, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, and she's saying that she's saying, like, I will either have to assassinate people or I will be assassinated.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't want to be assassinated. And so I can't.
Yeah.
Right? Like, she's like, I will not live very long. And I was like, girl, you have the one power. Like, I feel like if you, like, got a good warder, like, if Lan was her warder and she was Queen of Cairhien, I feel like she would be fine.
Maybe.
But, I do... Yeah, I like this bit. Here's the thing. If I was reading New Spring first, this detail would be so interesting.
Yeah, I'd be like, does she become queen?
I would... Well, and, like... Yeah, right? But because the problem with prequels, and this is the problem with a lot of prequels, but the problem with this story and this prequel is there's no tension in it for me because I know that she doesn't. Mm-hmm. I get that it's why she leaves early, and like so it causes interesting things to happen.
Yeah.
But like there is a real part of me that wishes I didn't know that she didn't become queen.
Yeah.
Because the way they set up her lack of desire to become queen is really well done. Mm-hmm. But it just doesn't mean anything to me because I know it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of this like this weird thing that happened in Moiraine's past where people want her to do something that she didn't do.
Yeah.
And like it would like the moment at the end of this, just to jump to the very end, where she runs away to not become queen.
Yeah.
Would if we didn't know what happens, I almost wish we'd started with New Spring. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because this detail is really well done throughout this. The way it's threaded through Moiraine's point of view throughout the next few chapters of her like coming to the realization that she has to leave is really well written.
Story-wise, I would agree. However, like we would have hated the Aes Sedai and the White Tower immediately. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Michael, thank you for that super chat. I would unironically love a soapy drama about the Damodreds in Cairhien called The Days of Our Lives.
That's very funny.
The Days of Our Lives, Damar.
Days of Our Lives. That is good.
That's great, yeah.
That's really good. It wouldn't really be soapy, though. It would be more of a, like, Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
There's a lot of assassination, and I guess soaps have those. But I feel like you could actually do, like, a high-budget version of that with Kyrian and have, like, the White Tower be a part of it.
Yeah.
That's what our Wheel of Time TTRPG should be called. Deus of Our Lives.
You have to ask Michael for permission for that one.
No, I can't because it's going to be set during the Trolloc War. So it wouldn't make sense.
Oh, okay.
I've already started planning out the story.
If you've got a fun name for a Wheel of Time campaign that takes place during the Trolloc Wars, feel free to suggest it.
But if you suggest it, I can steal it. So that's the one rule.
That is, yeah. Jeremiah, thank you as well for that super chat. Thank you. I read New Spring first and no one believed me that it works well by itself. I was also only 16 though. No, I
buy that it works well by its own on its own. Yeah.
Look, we are more than halfway through. I think if you were like, look, the Wheel of Time is great. If the size of the books are daunting, pick this one up first.
Yeah.
And see if you like it. I think right now it's totally fair.
Yeah, because I think it's I think the Queen story is well written. It just doesn't have any dramatic tension for me. That's all I'm saying.
Boys to Manethra.
Boys to Manethra. I like General Trolloc Warspittle.
What the fuck?
General Hospital.
Yeah. Yes, it will be live streamed. Don't worry.
Yeah, under the veil it will be live streamed. So the plan is we're gonna do I don't know how many parts it's going to be, but we're going to do a Trolloc Wars TTRPG story that I'm going to DM on the channel after we finish Memory of Light. So that'll probably happen in the fall of this year.
Yeah, or even maybe like early 2024, just because we want to do some one-offs as well.
Yeah, we'll see.
Kind of get the feel for doing live TTRPG streams, because they can be a lot, you know?
Turvok, we're in chapter 6. We literally have 9 more. We have 8 more. You're not missing anything.
Nah, you're good.
We have so much more to do.
Yeah.
That's the Emmonsfield boy band name. That is very funny.
Amazing.
Tunnels and Trollocs is pretty good. Tunnels and Trollocs is actually pretty good. I like that. We'll figure it out. So, Moiraine doesn't want to be queen. Next chapter. Chapter 7. We're almost halfway there. And we're an hour and 60 minutes in. We're right on schedule for a 2.5 hour show that will end up being 3 hours and 12 minutes.
Probably.
So, chapter 7, The Itch. Moiraine and Swan Tamra comes and visits them and is like, here, take these notes to people. I like this element. Tamra seals all the notes with wax in the color of the Aja they're going to in order so that it doesn't feel like it's coming from any Aja.
Yeah.
Tamra, pretty good. Let's be honest, pretty good Amyrlin.
Yeah.
She's a pretty good Amyrlin.
Yeah.
I see where like Swan models herself after.
Yeah.
Still, the Aes Sedai is collapsing under Tamra and she's not doing anything about it. So like, but overall, of the Amyrlins that we've seen, she's the top tier one. Because I would put her above Eleda. I'd put her above Egwene.
I'd put her above
fucking
whoever
dumbass getting kidnapped.
Fuck Grey takes over.
Oh my god, we're gonna talk about this girl, Sarah.
Yeah.
Saisen.
Should we hire Fabu to do a Wheel of Time one-off, having never read the books?
Yes, we absolutely should do that. I don't know, Fabu. I feel like you sit through book club enough that you would be able to pull it off.
That'd be pretty great, to be honest.
I feel like you would nail that.
Or no, Fabu just watches the show and does it based off of that, just to piss people off.
I don't know. I feel like the show would actually be a pretty good TTRPG story, like season 1.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because the DM can make it can make the action sequences better because they're imaginary and not what they filmed.
Yeah.
All right, so so they take these messages around to a bunch of very old people, and Moiraine in the middle of a hallway is like, "Oh, I figured it out. These are the people who are going to go look for the Dragon Reborn." It's so obvious. Moiraine and Swan deduce things like fucking Sherlock Holmes. But the difference is that Sherlock Holmes explains how he gets there, and Moiraine and Swan are like, I don't know, it just came to me.
Even Swan is like, how did you get that from that? Moiraine's like, you play the game of houses a little bit. You do some acid and things just come to you.
And so they're the searchers. That's what we're gonna call them from now on. Mm-hmm. They try and spy on Tamra's office a little bit. But the new keeper, Aeldra?
I think so.
Doesn't matter. She's not keeper for very long. Yeah. But Aeldra catches them, and Moiraine's like, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. We're just gonna fuck.
Yeah.
Also, we get to see the Greens like common room, which is all like war tapestries, and they within the Greens they have like a system of sword colors on their doors and shit. That I was like, God damn, this is the most complicated fucking shit that is for nobody's benefit. No,
it's just one of those weird, probably stupid tradition things. And Moiraine is like, wow, I really wish I knew what this was, but I won't be a Green, so I'll never know.
Here's my thing with the Greens, right? Mm-hmm. You call yourselves the Bad Lodja. None of the living Greens have ever been in a battle. So what are you earning these sword colors with?
Well, maybe some of them have been, right?
No, not an Aes Sedai has not been involved in a battle since Arthur Hawkwing's time. Since the Trolloc Wars, right? So there are no living Greens who have ever fought anybody.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's they have like a dueling club.
They have a dueling club!
And it's like a ranking system, Yeah, it's interesting that the Battle Aja have never been in like a war.
They're not allowed to be.
Yeah, no, it's just interesting.
The sword colors reveal how many warders you've banged.
That makes sense, actually.
That's so funny.
That makes sense. Or the warders put them on the doors as like a hot or not list. But the said I don't actually know what it means.
That is awful. That is so awful.
Yeah, the White Tower sucks.
So Moiraine goes into the Green Aja quarters to give Karine a note, at which point we meet a warder named Steppen.
And Elias.
And Elias is there.
Yeah.
That fucked me up, because I thought Elias had stopped being a warder like 40 years before the Wheel of Time. I didn't realize it had only been 20 years ago, and a lot of our main characters had met him.
Yeah. I mean, I knew he was around, but yeah, I thought it was definitely further back.
Elias showing up in this book was very strange to me. Because I was like, wait, Moiraine met Elias?
Maybe it's a different Elias, and Robert Jordan just threw that name in to like fuck
I don't think that there are two warders named Elias.
No, I know.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past Robert Jordan, but...
But here's the thing, Lan does know... Yeah, no, I don't know. It's odd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we meet Steppen, who, if you've seen the show... Elias helped train Lan. Oh my god, that's so right.
It's not his name, he's using an Elias.
No. Chad is right, though. He trained Lan, so I was wrong about the timeline in my head. I don't know how I got it in my head.
Well, I thought...
He stopped being a warder way earlier.
He was... I mean, I guess he's not, like, trained. He's just... He might be full... Yeah. It's just like, oh, wow.
Well, no, if they're in those quarters, they are full warders.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know how I got that wrong.
Well, because Lan is not there yet.
Yeah, no. I in my head, I was like, oh yeah, Elias was a warder like 40 years ago. But that can't be the case because he trained Lan. So I just, in my head, had that timeline wrong.
I guess, it depends when he leaves. We don't have the full timeline.
It is just interesting to me that like a lot of our main characters from the main series have met Elias. And I feel like he's like from a bygone age of the Aes Sedai. But the Aes Sedai don't really have a bygone age, so that doesn't really make sense anyway.
No, yeah, that's fair.
That's that chapter. Steppen is probably gonna kill himself in this book, because I think that's where the thing from season 1 comes. So at some point, Moiraine is gonna run into Karine in a battle. Maybe the battle where they meet Lan.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know. A lot has to happen in the second half of this book.
Yeah.
Like a lot has to happen.
Yeah.
The Grey needs to lose her job as the Amyrlin. Lan has to get bonded.
That Grey might be Amyrlin until Swan takes it. I don't actually know.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know how long she's...
Moiraine has to go back to the White Tower, though. And so that has to happen at some point. Maybe
Yeah.
there could be some time jumps in the second half of the book.
She might not go back to the White Tower until there's a successor put in on the Sun Throne. Right?
Oh, yeah. Maybe she goes to Kyrian and is a part of, like, behind the scenes making that happen. I don't know.
I don't think so, but who knows?
Dogbrother says Moiraine seemed not surprised when she saw Perrin's eyes. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That is a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely something she's seen before, so.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a lot of answers for Perrin, but, you know, she's got something.
So then chapter 8, Shreds of Serenity. They keep practicing for their test. And the one night, Aleda shows up and beats the shit out of them.
Yeah.
And this is where the Aes Sedai really fall apart in my eyes. Aleda, like, beats the shit out of those girls.
Yeah.
Like, it is.
Yeah.
It is hard to read, and it is so violent.
Yeah, like, Moiraine, like, collapses and, like, can barely stand because she is so hurt. And the other two in the room are crying. Well, Swan's not crying, but Morel is crying. Like, they're all, like, it's horrendous. And Aleda's like, it's because I want you to succeed. But, like, then why doesn't she heal them immediately afterwards? She's like, nah, you're going to have to sleep with it. Fuck you. I'll heal you in the morning.
Yeah.
Matthew, thank you for that super chat. This book was supposed to be the first of a trilogy of prequels. So there seems to be set up with no payoffs. Well, okay. I guess
Well, Monkey deleted that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay.
Cool.
I guess we'll figure out what doesn't end up paying off. It's fine.
If this second half of this book has literally 0 prequels, that's going to be brutal.
You mean payoffs?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would suck.
Antonova, are you asking what we do for a living?
Us? We do this.
Hi. This is our job.
It's pretty cool. YouTube's not bad. Yeah, so Aleda beats the shit out of them. Mm-hmm. Both of them.
But so she does this for 3 straight days, and then they don't say anything. Swan and Moiraine just take it. And then Moiraine shows up on the dawn of the 4th day, and she heals them and is like, that's not going to happen again.
Yeah. Because Aleda almost cheated, like, helped you guys cheat with the test, which doesn't really make sense.
Because it's not what the test ends up being?
It's not what the test... Okay, the only way that I think it could be cheating is that Aleda has already been pre-selected to be one of their assessors. And so her helping train them is seen as almost cheating.
But here's my problem with it. Aleda clearly goes too far.
Yeah.
And her punishment for that is she's a little bit humiliated.
Embarrassment.
And
yeah.
she's allowed to be in Moraine's test.
Yeah.
And that doesn't, that like just structurally does not work.
Yeah. She should be replaced.
And the structure of punishment within the Aes Sedai is like ridiculous.
Yeah.
And we'll get to it once they become Aes Sedai. There's a whole conversation that is like actually insane to think about. But yeah, this sequence with Aleda, like, it's so brutal.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's no consequence for Aleda is so evidentiary of a failed system among the Aes Sedai.
Totally.
That it's like a little bit like it kind of is weird, because I understand that Robert Jordan is trying to tell a story of a system in decline, but it's so in decline that it's hard for me to understand why anybody buys into it.
Yeah.
Like, reading this book, I don't really get the sense. And like, I know I bring up Harry Potter a lot, even though I'm anti-J.K. Rowling, but it's just an easy touchstone.
Because a lot of people can reference it.
But when you're reading Harry Potter, you understand why Harry buys into Hogwarts because of the magic of it and because there are systems in place to make you buy into it.
Yeah.
This book is missing that. This book is missing, like, why Moiraine... I understand why Moiraine loves Swan, and I understand why she loves using magic. Mm-hmm. Those are very personal to her.
Yeah.
The Aes Sedai really fail at making me understand why anyone wants to support their systems.
So here's the thing. The Aes Sedai are so secretive of what happens in the tower that they con girls into coming to them because they want to be Aes Sedai. They see the Aes Sedai as these amazing, incredible beings who can who have this power and this influence, and they look up to them because nobody actually fucking knows what goes on inside the tower. And then once you're there, they fucking have you. You cannot run away. You can fail, but even then, there's like stipulations put on you, and like it's like there's a whole system for it. Like they ensnare girls to coming to the tower because nobody actually fucking knows what goes on there.
Fine, that's fine.
Yeah.
Sure, getting them there is easy.
Evil. It's fucking evil.
But if there is an accepted who's looking at the system going, hey, this is collapsing right now.
Yeah.
Then it would stand to reason that everyone that other people would see it too, and not buy fully in.
Well, that's what the white cloaks are.
What? That has nothing to do with what I'm saying.
The white cloaks see the Aes Sedai as being
that's not what I'm talking about at all.
Oh.
The within the White Tower, the Aes Sedai would not have faith in their own systems.
Oh.
And so
I mean, they're kind of brainwashed over like potentially
but they're
decades.
not. They're literally not. They don't even have one cult to believe in. The Ajas hate each other. Like the Ajas literally are incapable of working together.
You can really unite people through hate.
That's what? I don't understand what you're trying to say.
Well, the people that are in the tower, right? If you let Novice in and on like we're great, but those Blue Aja, fuck those guys. It's really easy to like direct dissent towards others as opposed to the system, right? Oh, it's the blues. The blues make everything worse. Fuck those guys.
Okay. That doesn't explain how anything gets done there.
Nothing gets done there.
But this is my problem.
And that's it. Nothing
But
gets
this is
done.
my problem with it is I don't give a shit about the White Tower at all.
Yeah, they're
because
the worst.
As a system, it doesn't function.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is a badly written system, and I wish that it wasn't so that I could buy into a part of the story that I'm not buying into. I don't buy into the fact that these women are able to be powerful because it doesn't make sense for them to be. Really? Like, the punishment system in the Aes Sedai is so random that the tower should just collapse. Like, it should be anarchy. And the oaths aren't written... But it isn't, because according to the events of the world, it just works. And, like, it shouldn't work.
Well, it works from the outside only because the Aes Sedai literally rewrite their own history.
No, it works because Robert Jordan just writes that it works. He's written a completely failed system, but then is just like, but don't worry about that because everything's fine.
The U.S. has a president, and it is a completely failed system.
The U.S. is not a failed system. The U.S. is a functioning system.
Nothing happens.
Oh no, that is not fair.
Really?
Yeah, no. Right now it
feels like nothing gets done. Nothing changes. Nothing moves forward. Everyone is fighting to stop or like halt or delay things. I don't know. That feels very White Tower to me.
There are elements of that for sure. The difference is that the U.S. actually is in charge of the other places. And that there are companies that kind of, things have to happen because people make things happen, right? My problem with the White Tower is that it doesn't really make sense, especially like when the new Amyrlin comes into power. It doesn't make sense to me that the Amyrlin can change everything about the White Tower in 3 days. And that people put up with it. Like, you would think, right?
And, like, punishing people on racks for whatever reason.
She's literally torturing people and 3 days for things that wouldn't have gotten them tortured 3 days ago, and the sitters don't immediately depose her.
Yeah.
It just, like, doesn't make sense. It is a narrative story that, in my opinion, like, I got completely taken out by the new Amyrlin, because I was like, why are people putting up with this?
But it sets up that in 20 years, the White Tower literally does self-destruct. It falls the fuck apart, right? Like, they are this close in terms of the grand scale and timeline of the White Tower. They are this fucking close to utter collapse.
Yeah. It's just, it is more...
It's insane.
It is more interesting. Here's my problem with it.
Yeah.
They collapse in 20 years. It is more interesting to watch a functioning system decay than to look at a system and go, well, of course this collapses. This is a fucking disaster.
Okay, fair.
And because there is no element of the White Tower in the way that it's introduced in this book that I think actually works.
Fair.
When you get to 20 years from now and it falls apart, I'm like, well, yeah, of course it did.
Yeah.
It never made sense.
I think that, that's fair. It could have been a little less heavy-handed. So you're like, okay, I can see where, like, the inklings of this structure really, like, flourished.
But everything we learn about the White Tower in this book is, like, is Moiraine pointing at it and going, look, that's falling apart. Look, that's falling apart.
Moiraine
Look, that's falling apart.
This is a nightmare.
And I think that's kind of... It's an uninteresting starting point for the story of how we get to Siuan falling apart.
Yeah.
It would be more interesting to me if we met the Aes Sedai in this book and it just, like, worked. And you're like, oh, I get it. They're powerful. There are, like, squabbles between the Ajas, but there are systems to deal with those within the White Tower that we've never found out before. When Moiraine gets raised to the blue, she's like, this squabble between these two Ajas is over 100 years old, and no one knows what it's about. And I'm like, that, first of all, doesn't make sense because some of you would have been there. There are many of you that are over 100 years old, so you should know what the squabble is about. Mm-hmm. And two, why? Why is that allowed? I
do like that we get to see Moiraine analyzing everything, and we get that perspective. I think I would honestly go halfway. Silly Palm, thank you for
thank you for that.
Super chat.
Yes,
Welcome
I made it to a live stream. They're so much fun. Coming back to work after a late 10-hour shift. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Oh my gosh.
It's a treat to turn into. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy it.
Yeah, thank you so much. I totally hear what you're saying. I would like a midpoint, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, it's because I get it. I totally get it. But I also love seeing Moiraine pick things apart and seeing how her brain works. I think that's also very cool. So if it was me, it would be like a midway point between what is written and what you're saying. Yeah, it's functioning, but it's, like, really fucked up underneath of it all.
I wish that, like, there was, like, I just wish there were any details about the White Tower that made sense.
Yes.
None of the details of it make sense.
Everything is bonkers.
Like, the class structure doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, the punishment system
doesn't make any sense.
The whole, like, defer to more powerful people makes absolutely no sense.
And the fact that that's introduced to you by someone who's uncomfortable with the concept of it after you're already Aes Sedai.
She's like, I feel like I need to go brush my teeth.
Yeah, I'm like, what the it is literally your job to tell this girl this, and you won't even give them details. And I was like, this doesn't... And then she's like, yeah, well, like, they could send you to a farm to pick carrots for a month if you're rude. I was like, that does not fucking make sense.
Yeah, but it's also, like, what is, like, rude? If there's no set rules for what is considered disrespect and what if it's not actually written out what the hierarchy is and how egregious certain slights are, like, it literally, it doesn't make any sense. I would lose it. I would leave. Yeah. I would do what Moiraine did and I would fucking run away.
It's just, like, it's the White Tower in this, I was hoping to come into this book and, like, really understand the White Tower enough that it is interesting that it falls apart. And all I get reading this book is that the White Tower is built on shifting sand, and even if the Dark One hadn't interfered, this would have fallen apart. Mm-hmm. And that's my problem with it. Mm-hmm. Even if nobody had interacted with the White Tower, this system is going to collapse on its own.
Yeah.
And so it's not as interesting for the influence of the Black Aja to collapse the system. Mm-hmm. You don't need the Black Aja to collapse the system. Just wait. This is a disaster.
Well, I think it's a disaster because the Black Aja have been there since the beginning and moving all the little tiny pieces to make it so that it falls apart. I don't think they've been there since the beginning, though. I feel like they have been.
I don't think the Black Aja come into it until recently because they, like... The Dark One was sealed away for so long that he couldn't influence the world.
There were still Dark Friends even before the Dark... Like, even when the Dark One was sealed. Like, there were still Dark Friends.
But who was running them?
Who was running them? I don't know.
See, and that's no what gets weird, because we only meet the Dark Friends under the Forsaken.
Yeah.
So, like, who was recruiting them?
Yeah, because everyone was kind of sealed away in the Bore, whatever that means... Maybe they can touch dreams. I don't know.
I don't really. Yeah.
Jess Plus Infinity, welcome back to the Nerd Table. Thank you. Would have been good if the White Tower had worked in this book, then had a second prequel where Siuan is raised Amyrlin. You can see how much has decayed.
I agree with that.
That would have been really cool.
Or even if there was some decay in this book, but if it had started at like Sensical.
Yeah.
But it just kind of starts with like, we just kind of like walk up to Aes Sedai and ask if they'll teach us a class at night. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
How? There's like hundreds of people.
Yeah.
How could that system makes sense.
So if a Shamael started the Black Aja, though, that means the Black Aja are like very recent for when he escaped the prison.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. We need to move on from this point. It's just, yeah. I hope that this makes sense. And this isn't to say that this book is like bad. I'm enjoying this book. It's just that because of how decayed the White Tower also is in the main series, I was just hoping it would be more different. Mm-hmm. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel 20 years ago. It feels like the same White Tower with the same problems.
Yeah.
And, like, it just would have been interesting.
More White Tower, more problems.
It would have been interesting to have the prequel show us, kind of like the Star Wars prequels do, where, like, you see what the Empire is like, and then when you go back only 20 years, right?
Yeah.
To the height of the Republic, or, well, at the end of the Republic, and you see, oh my god, look, the galaxy looks so different 20 years ago because different people are in charge. I was hoping for that for the White Tower here, but I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally feel you.
Also, like, the Grey takes over, who is worse than Tamra, but
she was like almost
she's taking over a system that's already broken, so it's not like she's breaking it. She's just adding more torture.
She's just making it worse, yeah.
Yeah. I love that we went down that long ass rabbit hole from Aleda should have been punished for being for torturing the girls. At least she should have not been allowed in the Aes Sedai test.
If you can get sent to a farm for a month for, like, slightly disrespecting someone with more power than you, then, yeah, torturing people should be...
torturing children.
Children,
If the accepted and the novices are children, they should be protected from the ire of Aes Sedai.
Yeah.
And so if you have a system where you give all of these women power over all of these girls, and there is no system to protect those girls, that is an inherently disgusting system, in my opinion.
Totally.
That is
whether or not it started that way, who knows? That could have been the disintegration, but yeah, it's fucked up.
Arizush Fabpour, thank you so much for that super chat.
Thank you for the super chat.
Shamael gives speeches in Eye of the World about how he ruined Arthur Hawkwing. Dude has been around.
But that's...
I didn't take that literally, but I guess that is literal.
Wait, but no, the Arthur Hawkwing is before, like... The Dark One got sealed, right? Because of Shamael and his 100 companions sealed up...
Lews Therin and his 100 companions.
Sorry. Lews Therin and the 100 companions sealed them all away. Yes. So if Arthur Hawkwing happens before that point, then yes. But since Lews Therin has died, Ishamael has been locked up, right?
Yeah, but in the Eye of the World, Ishamael says that he affected Arthur Hawkwing.
Yeah,
so he must have been out.
Yeah, Arthur Hawkwing happened before Lews Therin.
No. Not even
but
close.
But isn't he telling...
Arthur Hawkwing happens 1,500 years before Rand, and Lews Therin is 3,000 years before Rand. When do you think Arthur Hawkwing happened?
Well, then why is he telling Lews Therin about it?
What?
Why is he telling Lews Therin about Arthur Hawkwing if that's a future thing?
I'm lost. I have no idea where you are.
If Ishamael is making his speech, he does the speeches to Lews Therin when he fucks him up. He's like, yeah, fuck you. And he mentions Arthur Hawkwing. That would be a future event.
No, he mentions them to Rand in the Eye of the World in the dream sequences.
Oh. I just reread that book and I still missed it.
That was a ride. I did not know where you were. Following you down that rabbit hole was wild.
I think it's because he calls Rand Lews Therin as well, and that fucks me up. I was like, yeah, he's talking to Lews Therin. Come on, that's fair. You gotta give me that one.
We have been talking about this series for over a year.
Uh-huh.
And you just went, but Arthur Hawkwing happened before the break-in.
Yeah, I got confused. I don't know what to tell you. I got
cool.
I also have just reread that book and I still fucked it up.
Okay, I feel vindicated for not knowing that Tuon was black now.
Okay. Sure.
All right, chapter 9, it begins. Your doppelganger, thanks for that super chat.
Thank you for that super chat.
Hey, fun fact, the guy who did the artwork for the graphic novel of this book has said
Robert.
I thought you were like, fun fact, the guy who drew the graphic novel died. That Robert Jordan told him he came closest to depicting Trollocs correctly. Cool.
Oh, cool. All right. We'll have to go take a look at that.
Fabu, if I'm catching spoilers, y'all done screwing up. Stop posting spoilers.
Yeah, if Fabu can catch it.
Oh my god. Okay.
Huh. Yeah.
All right. Let's.
Time for another reread, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, Archer Hawkman was like 1,500 years ago.
Okay.
And the breaking was 3,000 years ago.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, we're all on the same page now?
Yeah, time doesn't exist, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, God.
Stop spoiling Fabu. Anyways, moving on. We got to get a motor on.
No, we're good. We're in chapter 9. Moiraine is taken deep into the bowels of the White Tower. Mm-hmm. She's stripped naked, and then she goes into a magic machine that is like the other accepted test, except this time she has to go through 100 scenarios in which she's either embarrassed or attacked and weave pointless weaves while also weaving other weaves. She does it. Can we talk about a couple of things?
Sure.
First of all, how the fuck did they figure this out?
What do you mean?
How the fuck? How in the goddamn hell
does?
did they figure out what the 100 weaves were going to be? Like the
Unless it came with an instruction manual. Maybe it came with a manual.
That was a manual.
Yeah.
Because when they started to explain what the test was, I'm sitting there reading it like, you're telling me that an Aes Sedai found this thing and then like puzzled it out?
Elaine could have.
The whole time I'm reading this, it's a cool test, and it's one of those fun things.
I understand it.
Where if Robert Jordan hadn't written in the main books that all of the terangrials that they had to like figure out how they worked. If he had just written that, like, the Aes Sedai had passed down the knowledge from before the breaking when they made this for this thing, because the Aes Sedai lived for hundreds of years and it is reasonable that they would have passed that information down, wouldn't be weird, right? You would go, okay, someone made this thing, they intentionally made it this way, but Robert Jordan went into the book and was like, none of the, they don't know how any of the triangles work, so they just tried shit.
Deadsy, thank you for that super chat. Many Bothans died to puzzle out the terangrial.
That is very funny, Deadsy.
Well done. That was very good.
Arzu Kashefapur, thank you for the spoiler chat, but stop spoiling.
Yeah. So here's the thing. We have said this before, but apparently I have to say it again. If there are things that we have missed, please don't tell us. Mm-hmm. You have all had the joy of reading this series through several times and picking up those little details that we missed. It's a beautiful thing, and I know you're excited, but please let us have the joy of a read through as well. Please, I'm begging you. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Paul Ramian says, didn't take you too long to get into your negative again. This isn't really negative. This is just a joke.
It's just silly. You're like, how did they know? How did they know?
It's more just fun to think about, like, who was the poor soul who was like, I'm going to figure this out.
Yeah.
Because it would take...
Who went in there first? They would be like, what the fuck weaves am I supposed to do to get from this seal to the next seal? I don't know. And what happens if you channel before you're touching the seal? The first person who went in there probably channeled, wasn't touching the seal, and I don't know, disappeared into a puff of smoke?
Yeah, but also, like, they still don't know how it works, and girls regularly just die in there.
I know!
And so I'm like, it's so hilarious to me that, like, they came up with a system that they, with a machine that they don't know how it works.
Yeah.
That was clearly made by, like, the Jewish Aja before the breaking.
Why?
Because the path forward is the Star of David.
Yeah,
it's the two overlain triangles, 6-pointed triangles.
You know what?
It's the Jewish terangrial.
You're not wrong.
Like this sequence.
Weave number 88 is making challah bread. Oh man, yeah, no, I didn't even think about that.
No, this sequence is really well written, and it is so fun as a test.
It's cool.
The only thing that makes it funny is the idea from the main series books where they had to figure out how all these triangles worked, and that someone figured out that it was why did they settle on 100 weaves? Mm-hmm. Like they're so weave 4 is a dreidel. That's very funny. Yeah, no, but like I was like, okay, this is the Jewish terangrial. I like. Here's the thing. I love the Jewish traditions of growing up. Mm-hmm. The bar mitzvah, the bat mitzvah. I've catered way too fucking many of them, but I love them. They're very cool. I kind of love that the coming of age moment in this is under like the Jewish star.
Yeah.
And so even in the Wheel of Time, the girls have like their bat mitzvah.
Yeah.
Where they have to learn like the old tongue. They have to like perform this useless ceremony over and over and over again.
Is the old tongue Hebrew?
They're just speaking Yiddish.
Oh my god.
But no, I do. There was something interesting about the coming of age element of this book happening. In the same way that like I feel like the Jewish tradition has a really strong tradition of coming of age ceremonies that like I didn't have growing up. I didn't, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't ever have like a party for a certain age of like I'm a man now.
Yeah.
So I actually think the symbolism of that works really well for me.
Oh no, it's really cool. It's awesome. I legitimately am like, how did they figure it out? That and we'll never know. That's not something I don't think can really be explained. It's just kind of like yes, moving on.
If my other question about this sequence is the Browns who aren't very good at channeling, how the fuck do they survive this? This trial is fucking hard. Moiraine fights like 8,000 Trollocs. Also, why are the Aes Sedai not all way more competent at channeling in the actual books? If they can survive this test, they should all be fucking gods.
It seems pretty fucked up. Maybe they just like pass the test and then they go off to their books and like they
never channel again.
They were really like powerful and fighty, and then they're like, God, I'm never doing that again. Like,
one of the things that we talked about off channel was that I find it interesting that the test to become Aes Sedai has no element of like political savvy to it, or like it is just a channeling test. And I feel like what makes the Aes Sedai is not as much the channeling, because the novices and accepted can channel, right? What makes them Aes Sedai is their ability to be stoic and to hide their emotions. And I was expecting the test to involve more answering questions with subterfuge, without lying. I was expecting like those elements of being Aes Sedai to be more important to the test, and it not just to be a channeling competition. And so I wonder if there is like
the reason maybe you're not supposed to ever talk about it with anybody else is because the test is very different depending on what your strengths are.
Oh, like Moiraine isn't tested in the Deus Damar because she's already a pro at it?
Maybe.
They like, we don't need to test you on the like political stuff because you're literally Moiraine, the Lady Moiraine damage, right?
Yeah. The part that is weird to me is that we know that there are Aes Sedai who are not very strong in the power.
Yeah.
Right? We know that there are definitely way less powerful Aes Sedai. And yes, the original weave does not take a lot of power, but we know that it takes double and triple the amount of power to do second and third weaves at the same time. And so if you don't have enough power to do much more than the first one, yeah, there are certain characters that I'm like, I wonder how you pass this test unless this test is absolutely, completely bonkers different for everybody else, which is why you're not allowed to talk about it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
It's all. It
was just interesting. Like
it's very interesting.
I think that it is another like failing of the Aes Sedai, rather than it being a failing of Robert Jordan. I don't think it's a failing of Robert Jordan at all. I think this test is really cool.
Yeah. It
is just a failing of the Aes Sedai that they're not putting as much emphasis as I think they need, which is evidenced by Siwan not knowing how to buy a dress, right?
Yeah.
And Moiraine needing to teach her how to buy a dress. And Siwan needs Moiraine so much. And I do like that element of these books. I wonder what happens to Siwan after Moiraine is gone.
After Moiraine leaves, I know.
Because Siwan doesn't have tact.
No. Yeah. Certainly not. But we do find out how she gets to be the head of the Blue Eyes and Ears.
Dwayne, cool. Their message was deleted. But Dwayne was like, David, you've admitted, first of all, just call me nerdy on here. Just so that everyone knows who I am. I get that people want to use my real name. I don't really know why. I never introduce myself as that on the channel, but whatever. Well, it's just weird because I don't know you, right? Like, it's like that weird thing of like,
Yeah.
I didn't start skimming until like Path of Daggers. That was where I started to skim descriptions of clothing and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't been skimming the whole time. I just started to skim when I was like, I really like the descriptions of some of these clothes are very boring. Well,
yeah, when you read the clothes, that's like not super. Yeah, I skim. Yeah. I skim the descriptions too. Like, I feel like most people do.
So the point says Nerdy knows best new soon to be canceled series. Now you're just being mean. Why is my series getting canceled?
Yeah, it hasn't even started yet.
I produce all my own shit. I decide if this shit gets canceled. Nobody can cancel me, okay?
Yeah.
I post on YouTube. You can't cancel YouTubers. That's a whole other conversation, but...
Yeah, we don't have time to get into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyways, the test... Really, really cool.
Really cool. And Moiraine comes out of it looking like a fucking badass.
Yeah. You know, and they heal her, and they're very kind, and Elena immediately leaves, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck was up with that.
I did like that the one, because Moiraine isn't as much of a participant in the Battle of Emond's Field from the Eye of the World, but in the show she is, right? The show, it really felt like they pulled the Moiraine and Lan fighting the Trollocs sequence from the pilot of the TV show from this visually, like her throwing the fireballs and whatnot. Like I thought it was just really cool.
Yeah.
And it really reminded me of episode 1 of
you're right. I think that's a good pull. Yeah.
Yeah. So then we get into chapter 10. It finishes. And Moiraine, after passing 99 weaves, comes up to her final test. Mm-hmm. She's been naked a lot. She's worn a lot of uncomfortable clothes. She's been attacked. She's bleeding from multiple parts of her body. It's pretty rough. And out steps her dad. And Daddy's like, hey, your mom's dying. You got to come with me.
She's like, tell Mom I love her, and pieces out.
No, but she's devastated by it.
Yeah.
And she weaves the final weave faster than any of the other weaves. And... she walks away.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful moment. Honestly, the whole testing sequence was fantastic.
Wheezing Dad says she does fight in the book. It happens off page though. Like we don't. Brand shows up after the fight has already happened.
Yeah.
So we don't get the visual of what Moiraine was doing in that fight.
Which is where this feels like
the fireballs and the spinning of the fireballs from the TV show feels like it comes from the description of her fighting the Trollocs in this.
Yeah, because she also calls the lightning down.
Yeah.
The only thing that's different, I think, is like the pulling the stones out. That was a cool added
throwing
thing.
the in at them. Yeah.
Sorry,
that was what I meant. I know that she's in the fight in the book. We don't see the fight from anybody's perspective because Rand is in the woods.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, she turns to her dad and is like, I love you, Father. Please tell Mother that I love her with all my heart. And then she walks past her dad and leaves the test, which is just like a beautiful way to end it because... And I actually dislike the beat after the test where the yellow is upset with Elena for testing Moiraine with this. Mm-hmm. I think that every single sister should have to pass this part of the test.
Well, it's very reminiscent of the accepted test.
Yeah, but if you're going to become Aes Sedai, in a way you'd have to leave your family behind. Mm-hmm. If you're going to join any cult, you have to leave your family behind. But particularly something like the Aes Sedai, you have to accept... If you're going to actually function as an Aes Sedai, you have to accept that the rest of your family's probably going to die before you reach your middle years.
Yeah, there's that one green who has a tapestry of her parents, their children, their children's children, their children's children's children. You know what I mean? Like, it's,
And so as cruel, like Moiraine calls this cruel, and I'm like, it is a little bit, it is but cruel. It also like the most necessary lesson for you to learn in all of it, which is I'm going to live to maybe 350, and these people are probably going to be dead in the next 20 years.
Yeah, you do have to come to terms with that somehow.
And so I thought, like, I actually loved this as being the final test. I love that the final test wasn't a fight. It was, come home. And she goes, no, I am home. I'm sorry, I love you. It's not that I don't love, and it's not I don't love you anymore. It's not I don't care about you anymore. It's I love you. Tell Mom I love her. But she's gonna die, and I'm not gonna be there for it because I that is not my life anymore.
Yeah.
And not to spoil my high of the book, but so far this scene was my high of the whole book because it's Moiraine going, I have found my place in the world.
Yeah.
And then she immediately runs away from it, but for good reasons. But like it's Moiraine sitting there being like, I found the thing that I love so much, and I love you.
Yeah.
I care about you. I care about Mom. But you're going to die, and I'm going to live 200 more years.
And I have to come to terms with that sooner or later. Yeah. Randall, I was about to make a bad joke off of your comment. Maybe I... anyways.
And so then she comes out. Anea heals her.
Yep.
And we go into the ceremony. Everyone comes and congratulates her, except for Marianne, which is interesting because...
Oh,
I was going to get to that in a second.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyways.
Which is interesting because the Mistress of Novices, she leaves because the Moiraine is no longer under her purview.
Yeah.
And so the Mistress of Novice leaves without saying anything because you are no longer in her domain. And also, Aleda leaves too without saying anything.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Just jumping ahead a little bit.
No. It's all good.
Do you have anything to say about it?
About that?
Yeah.
Aleda sucks. Boo. That's my insight. You're welcome. You're welcome. Here's the thing. I actually don't know if... So, Moiraine infers that the Yellow is upset because Aleda was the one who used her dad against her or whatever. I don't know if that's actually the case. Mm-hmm. I wonder if there's something else in the test.
I dislike that idea. I think that Aleda... I think that final test is the perfect final test for this test. Regardless of who is there.
I do as well, which is why I don't think that was Aleda's... It might have been Aleda's contribution, but I don't know if that's why the Yellow is upset.
It was just weird that in the writing, Moiraine is like, that last one was cruel. And the Yellow is like, yeah, it was. And I'm like, that is a necessary cruelty, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think that is a more necessary cruelty than the physical pain.
Then, beating the shit out of each other. I agree with that, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I really, look, I think it is, the idea of someone trying to figure out the Turn Girl is funny. The test itself is really
very cool. Yeah, absolutely.
And I like that it doesn't have the magical element of prophecy that the accepted test does. Mm-hmm. I like that it is a pure test of will. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
And then I really like the next part.
Yeah. We got an inkling of some really cool shit here.
Yeah, so she goes into a room, and the Amerlin seat is there. And, wait, no, God, no, I'm totally forgetting. She goes to bed first.
She goes to bed. Yeah. Swan has also been taken for her test.
Yeah.
So Moiraine does not see her.
Yeah.
So she's exhausted. She eats all the food. She waits for Swan to come back. And they find out that they have both passed.
Yes.
Very beautiful moment.
But Moiraine passed first.
Yes, yeah. But hair, whatever.
And I really like this next bit where they spend the night alone. They can't go to bed. And they spend the night alone in quiet contemplation of the decision that they're about to make. And I think that that is such a... It's just awesome. It is such an awesome kind of detail of you pass the test. You will be an Aes Sedai tomorrow. But go think really hard about it.
Yeah.
Now, granted, lacking sleep like that can make you... make some weird decisions in the morning. And so I would let them get a good night's sleep before they choose the rest of their life.
Well, but they also stay up late pulling a prank.
Do they? Does it actually happen?
Yes, it does happen. Because Marina's maybe we shouldn't have.
I guess I don't really understand how this works.
They put mice in people's beds. I think Aleda's
They put mice in Aleda's bed?
I think Aleda's. Yeah. Now Aleda is afraid of mice.
I'm disappointed that we didn't get that.
That moment, I think it would have been very beautiful to have, their last moment as children.
Yeah.
Doing this thing together. I agree. I would have liked to have experienced that. But yes, it did happen. It did happen.
Because I would like to know how they got into Aleda's room.
I don't know. They're sneaky.
Yeah.
Yeah. They sneaky.
Yeah, I don't know. They just cut away from it, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Did it happen? Did it not? Aleda, it never comes up again? The last time they see Aleda leaving the tower, it doesn't come up.
It comes up in the main series. Aleda makes a comment about, I think, the Wonder Girls possibly liking to pull pranks like Moiraine.
Yeah, but Moiraine and Swan are known for pulling pranks up until this moment. I don't know if that's about the mouse thing.
Fair.
Yeah, it was just weird that it cut away.
Yeah.
And that it didn't come back. I do like the prank that they pulled that was just they went and bought fish and put them in a fountain. I was like, is that a prank?
So for sure.
Who are you pranking?
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
Like, somebody has to scoop the fish out of the fountain
We
now?
eating good tonight. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just, the fountain prank, I was like, I guess you put fish in water.
They pranked the fish.
It's a prank on the fish.
Yeah, 100%.
They're like, we didn't get caught. And I'm like, yeah, because nobody's, like, upset. Everyone's just kind of like, because here's what I imagine
Unless they
happened.
were like sharks.
I don't think they were sharks.
They're like mini sharks, because Swan knows her fish, right?
Here's what I imagine happened. And Aes Sedai walked into the courtyard and looked in the fountain and went,
oh, nice addition to the fountain.
hey, there's fish in there. That's weird. And then nobody asked any questions because there's just fish in a fountain.
Yeah.
Like, who's going to investigate that?
Yeah.
You're not calling Sherlock Holmes to be like, yeah, so we found fish in water. And he's like, okay, like, what the fuck do you want me to do about it?
Yeah, I don't know. Baby shark dude.
Yeah, anyway.
That's amazing.
They filled the pond with piranhas.
Oh my fucking god. Yeah, the poor owner of the fountain. Yeah, so anyways, they get not really a good night's sleep. But the next morning, they are summoned to choose their Aja. I love that Moiraine like takes a minute to, make sure she's all cute looking. And they knock on Swan's door. It's like, knock, knock, knock. And she's like, yes, I'm ready.
Yeah. Swan is eager. We haven't talked about Swan a lot throughout this book club, which is weird because like she's there for all of this.
Yeah. We can talk about her and her like little perspective.
Yeah, I think that's kind of it. We really mostly see Swan from Moraine's perspective.
Yeah.
I do like that they've cleaned up her language until she becomes Aes Sedai, and then she immediately throws that out the window.
Well, and in her head, she's still, that's still how she speaks, which is very funny.
Yeah.
Cleaned up her language. Yeah, so they walk...
Chapter 11 of New Spring, just before dawn. Moiraine and Swan, surrounded by some Aes Sedai, hold hands.
I know.
And they walk down
so cute.
to the room, and they're just, like, being little lesbians. And they get to a door. And Swan is like, I get to go through the door first. And Moiraine is like, fuck you. You know what you did.
Hey, they worked it out between them, Moiraine gets to take the oaths first, and Swan gets to walk through the thing
But they wanted to fight about it. And Swan was like, no, I'll go through the door first. And it was like, Moiraine was like, well, okay. And Swan was like, well, because I go through the door first, you have to take the oath first. And she's like, you bitch. How dare you trick me like this? I've walked into one of your little plans.
They're so good together. Yeah. So they go to the Amerlin seat, and the Amerlin seat says the speechy speech.
The speechy speech?
The speechy speech. And then they, choose your, no. They take the oaths.
Yeah.
Which the feeling of that, don't love it. And it lasts like a year. That's crazy.
The fact that, it's like you're wearing like a really tight Lululemon pantsuit for a year.
No, that's comfortable. It's like you're wearing like a corset for a year.
Yeah.
Like a full body corset.
Why do you think healing helps it?
Maybe it's a muscle tension thing. I don't know. It's like taking ibuprofen.
Okay. Yeah.
I genuinely don't know.
That's an interesting take on it.
Yeah. I could not tell you. And they choose the blue. Obviously, we knew that. The other Ajas get the fuck out of there. And even the Amerlin seat leaves. And she's like, now it's on them.
Colonel Sanders says placebo effect. I like that.
Maybe.
I like that.
Could be, yeah. Because it doesn't really, like, change it, but it just makes it feel a little bit better. Mm-hmm. So.
And so they go up to the blues.
Leanne is there. Leanne.
Leanne is there.
Leanne is there. Yeah. They rekindle their friendship, which is really nice. Rafaela is there. Lelaine is there.
All the people you remember from the Wheel of Time.
Yeah, exactly. And
also, the blue is the second smallest Aja, which I did not realize.
I knew the blue was small. I did not realize that the white was the smallest. I feel like we met a lot of white Aja.
Yeah. I feel like we meet a lot of blues, but it's just because they're mostly the main characters.
It's only because they're the main characters.
Because Moiraine,
we don't meet a lot of blue.
Shireen, Lelaine, Leanne,
and that's it, though. Like, that's it.
Megan.
Megan?
Megan?
Oh, in this.
We don't meet Megan in this, but yeah, we meet in the main series. I'm saying we meet a lot of blues in the Wheel of Time because Moraine's friends are mostly blues,
and the people they trust generally.
Because the Reds are mostly villains, right? Like there aren't really until we get to like book 7 or book 8. Whenever they introduce Pavara, like she's the first Red that I would say is like a heroic character.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas up until then, it's only been really blues and greens. And then you've had the like questionable ones like Varen, who's a brown, I think, right? Yeah. So like we've mostly experienced the Wheel of Time through blues and greens.
Yes. We do meet a lot of other different ones, which is why I thought that the white was bigger than it is. It doesn't super matter. Yeah, but I did find that interesting. They all kiss. On
the cheek.
Okay, fine.
Only Swan and Moiraine kiss on the lips.
You're right. But no, yeah, they kiss, and the 6th person to give you a kiss gets a pie.
And so one of the girls has snuck down to the test, who doesn't need to be there, so that she can be the 6th kiss.
Yeah, she sneaks it in.
Because usually the 6th kiss is supposed to be the first person you kiss when you get back to the blue, but someone snuck down and like hung out for it to make sure that she got the pies, which is fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
And all other women are like, make bad pies to punish her for this infidelity of our blue order.
They're like, this is gonna be hilarious.
Robin says, thank you for joining this Nards.
Welcome back to the Nerd Table.
I like the parallel of Moiraine and Swan and with Egwene and Nynaeve. Interesting, yeah. An adventurous young woman and a stern friend who tries to be the tempering influence.
Yeah, I mean, Moiraine is also very prudish, like Nynaeve as well.
Yeah.
There's a reflection there for sure.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Much giggity for the pie.
Oh, there was one thing in the test I wanted to bring up before we get out of here.
Oh, the test. Okay.
I forgot this. I took a screenshot of it. She faced poisonous serpents and toothed water lizard 3 spans long.
What's a span?
I don't know, but if that's big enough, I think those are Lizalfos from Breath of the Wild.
Sure.
I was like, oh my god, Moiraine is fighting the enemies from Breath of the Wild right now.
Robert Jordan is a huge Zelda fan.
Yeah, Robert Jordan is canonically a Zelda fan for a Zelda game that came out 16 years after he died.
Don't worry about it. Oh my god.
So yeah, they choose the blue, and then they go up to the test. Rafaela wants to...
Or alligators.
Rafaela wants to bring back all of these fucking...
These weird traditions. Yeah, you gotta walk naked. And they're like, Rafaela, shut the fuck up.
And like, Raphael starts with an R. Robert Jordan starts with an R. Robert Jordan self-inserted him here as Rafaela, and he's like, no, you gotta be naked more.
Yeah, be naked
more. I really like my characters to be naked all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, these weird traditions. These traditions are all fucking weird.
Every tradition involving women in the Wheel of Time involves them getting naked. All of them.
Yeah.
The first wives ceremony, no matter what culture you're part of, if you're a woman and you're part of a tradition, you will be naked at some point.
Yes, that you will be naked.
Men, not so much.
No.
Have we ever seen men get naked in front of each other in the Wheel of Time?
Ruidian,
yeah, that's the one time.
That's, I think, it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess bathing, but yeah.
Yeah, but that's not a tradition.
No.
That's whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like weird frat house traditions.
Yeah.
Yeah, clothes overrated.
I agree with Marisa. We should all get naked more.
Yeah. So they kiss every single blue. We know that there are now 44 blues, I think it was.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, not that many.
And Edith is the first selector.
Yes, first selector. What a weird fucking title.
What a weird title. What is she selecting? Oh, she's selecting the causes that they go after.
Oh no, Berserk. No, you're right. Men do not get naked. It's only the wise ones who do. It's Avienda gets naked, but Rand doesn't.
Right. It is literally only the women who get naked.
Why the fuck? Like.
Yeah. It's only the women who got naked.
Yeah, Robert, you fucking pervert.
That's mean. It's really not though. You married a pervert. So.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't mean that as an insult. It's just more a statement of fact. Oh my god.
The girls swear the oaths, which is great, and they. Oh no, sorry, we're past that. We get up to their rooms.
Yes.
And all of their stuff is already in the rooms, which is hilarious to me. Because it implies that, so that ceremony happens,
yes,
right? So they're in the room and they walk over and they grab the blue shawls.
Yes.
And then everybody else leaves. And there must be a servant.
And they have walkie-talkies being like, they got the blue. Go, 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 go.
But they don't have walkie-talkies. So there must be a servant outside the room. So everybody, as the other colors are coming out of the room, there must be a servant standing there.
Watching.
And one of the other Ajas goes, they chose blue. That servant takes off at a fucking dead sprint.
Yeah.
They run to I'm assuming the lobby, because that's probably the fastest to like all the directions.
Yeah.
So there are probably people standing in the lobby with all of Moiraine and Swan's stuff, waiting for someone to find out what Aja they're going to, so that they can run that shit up the stairs. Because in the past days, they used to walk them around the entire White Tower.
Right.
They would show them off to each of the other Ajas, and there was a whole thing. But they've gotten rid of that, and now they just walk straight back to the blue Aja. And so that means, but they get there and the room is already set up.
Yeah. They're like, oh, my shit's already here. Like those, they must have been long kisses.
But there's stuff that have already been at least in the rooms. Maybe not set up in the rooms, but in the rooms by the time, because the kisses happen in the blue Aja room.
Yeah.
So I love the idea that there is somebody whose job it is to like relay the information and get their shit up to that room really fast.
Yeah. And the rooms are ready for them. They're right beside one another.
Lace. So frilly lace.
Yes. Yeah, Moiraine does not like lace.
Yeah, Moiraine is a Kyrianan. They like dark colors and they don't like lace.
Yes, exactly.
Which is going to be hilarious. They're given 4 dresses, which does not seem like enough.
I mean, it's enough to get you through to go see a tailor.
If you're willing to go buy shit, but Swan is like, I can live in 4 dresses. And I'm like, Swan, that's disgusting. You need more clothes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You need more than 4 clothes. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Although I guess they don't sweat.
True. But like, your hems,
clothes get dirty though?
Your hems would get so dusty, right? Because they touch the floor, probably.
And it's not like the White Tower's clean.
No.
They talk a lot about how like there aren't enough people there for it to stay clean.
But they're like, okay, breakfast or go see the selector. Like, obviously, we'll go see her first.
Mm-hmm.
And this is literally for her to be like, yeah, so you know how you're not supposed to think about how powerful people are, like, at all, ever? It's, like, really bad? Just kidding. You have to, because that's how we determine the hierarchy here.
James Withink says, 4 dresses are more than you get in most jobs today. If you have a job where while you're in training, they force you to wear 1 dress every day, and you're not allowed to change clothes until they promote you, reach out to me. I would like to save you from the situation that you're in.
We only got 1 shirt at Swiss
What?
Yeah. They only gave us 1 shirt and 1 apron each. That we had to wash. Yeah. You could buy another one.
Oh, yeah, I would have bought another one.
Yeah,
I would have bought like 5.
Yeah, no, I know. It's yeah. But they also have magic to clean themselves, so.
That's true.
They can't, when they're accepted, they're not supposed to use that for chores, but.
Which is silly to me. Yeah. I feel like you should be like, no, use it for chores. Get comfortable using the power for things like that.
You would think, yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's weird. It's 4 dresses in this economy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then Edith pulls them aside and is like, hey, just so you know, you have to defer to people who are stronger than the one powering you. I don't want to talk about this, so don't ask me any questions. And they're like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah, they're like, okay, we just have to figure it out. Oh, yeah, and if you slight somebody, even by accident, they get to choose the punishment, which might mean going to work at a farm for a month.
In what world? In what world does that make sense?
It's bonkers.
Oh yeah, no, like you can just get punished for literally anything at any time with no oversight.
This was hilarious. And here's the but
I don't want to give you any details to help you not go through that, so I'm just gonna go brush my teeth.
Yeah, and you know it is a like interesting choice for the world, but you can't really like you're like no fucking wonder the Aes Sedai are a fucking hot mess.
It's an interesting choice for the world if it was like described to the girls with like some decorum, but Edith is behaving as if this is like a shameful thing.
Yeah, and she's like, I don't want to talk about it.
It is the governing like distinction of the rest of their lives, and there's no like.
It's like never giving your children the birds and the bees talk.
Yeah.
Literally, the consequences are pretty bad if you fuck up.
Yeah.
But we're not going to give you any information on it. Yeah, just don't talk to boys. Just don't talk to boys.
Yeah.
If you talk to a boy, something bad might happen.
Like there
Very
should be a
helpful.
book. There should, if you're gonna be this uncomfortable talking about it.
Yeah, a manual.
There should just be a book.
Someone should just write a manual. Yeah.
Moiraine can read.
Yeah.
Swan
can read.
Probably can read.
Yeah, they wrote whatever.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, that was hilarious to me. They were there for like 30 seconds, and then they go leave.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, let's go get some food. But psych.
Catalia is like, yo, Swan, you good at puzzles? And Swan is like, I guess.
Yeah.
And then she hands Swan. Swan is fucking Magnus Carlsen, okay? Mm-hmm. Do you know who Magnus Carlsen is?
I know the name. Isn't that like I don't know.
Come on, you got this. Just make a guess. Just make any guess.
I'm assuming is a puzzle maker.
No, he's the number one ranked chess player in the world.
Chess player. Okay, I was like, I know this name. I know it has something to do with a game, so maybe puzzles. No, I fucked it up.
Turbach, thank you for that super chat. It explains why Aes Sedai are dumb. They respect power and not wisdom. Agreed.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Yeah, they are high intelligence, low wisdom, low charisma. They're like high intelligence, high. They have too many dump stats. They all have natural 20s in intelligence, and all of them are below 10 in strength, charisma, and wisdom. But
probably not Constitution if that's the like channeling power.
Yeah, Constitution, they're like a 16.
At least, yeah. Well, it depends. Some of them are probably only like 12 or 13.
Yeah, so Swan looks at a list of words and figures out that it is a winning game of solitaire.
Solitaire?
Yeah, it's called a raise, but it's it's a game where you place cards in descending based on suit.
Oh, okay. I didn't get that it was solitaire.
It is described in a way that makes me think that it might not literally be solitaire, but it is clearly like referencing solitaire in some ways.
Yeah.
But it is a winning game of solitaire just by reading it, which makes Swan a fucking genius, like beyond a genius. That is an insane intelligence.
She's a smarty pants, yeah.
I never got that from Swan, though.
Really? Moiraine talks this entire book about how Swan is incredible with puzzles that Moiraine just does not see.
Oh, no, in The Wheel of Time, I didn't get that.
Oh, I mean, she is the Amerlin. She does teach Egwene how to manipulate through all the waters.
That is not the same as
seeing
this
patterns?
Kind of intelligence.
I don't know. Swan is very insistent that the sitters getting elected too young is a pattern. And Egwene is like, eh.
Yeah, but Swan doesn't figure it out immediately.
She doesn't figure it out. You're right.
MV fan, thank you so much for that super chat.
Super chat.
Swan can write, but it's all fish puns. Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm saying like I got from the other books that she's an incredible political mind, and this feels like a different kind of intelligence that I just didn't expect her to have.
Yeah, it wasn't what I expected. But
I also feel like
Swan
should have figured out that Halima is evil by now.
Well, Swan does not like Halima. Maybe, I don't know.
It's cool, though. This was fun. I feel bad for Swan.
Yeah.
Because Talia is brutal.
Here's the thing. I feel bad for Swan, but this means Swan gets to be head of the eyes and ears.
This is 100% how she becomes the Amerlin so fast. Yeah.
Very, 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 very useful.
1,000%. Yeah.
And then Moiraine gets summoned somewhere, doesn't she?
Moiraine is given a job.
Right.
She's going to go be in charge of dispensing the bounty because she ran estates back in Cairhien, which is hilarious. She basically becomes an accountant.
Yeah, basically. But she just oversees it. She just signs off on
Moiraine.
shit.
Moiraine gets raised to Aes Sedai and becomes an accountant.
An accountant.
And then we cut to Lan. Guys, remember 200 pages ago when Lan didn't get into a fight? Well, now Lan is watching people not fight again. Petra Nile is there, not fighting.
Yeah.
And everybody goes home.
Pretty much. It's just to be like, hey, Lan is definitely in this book. Don't worry about it. Like, but we're getting there. We're getting there.
Why not start with a Lan fight? If you're gonna say Lan has been fighting a war, just start with one of the fights. It is so weird to me that they cut back to Lan for, again, a section where nothing happens.
Yeah.
Other than Bukama's like, hey, we've been fighting a lot. I know it didn't happen in the book, but we have been fighting a lot. Despite the fact that it seems like all we do is show up to fights and then not fight them. And Lan is like, I'm going home. And Bukama's like, give me 2 years. And Lan's like, no. And he's like, give me 4 months. And Lan's like, okay, let's go south to Tyr. I want to see the stone.
Yeah, basically.
I've never seen the Stone of Tyr before. And so this section of the chapter is literally Lan doesn't get into a fight and Bukama and Lan decide to go on vacation.
Albino says no one wants to fight Lan. They all suffer from Lan fear.
That's true.
Very well done. Very well done.
But yeah, I was just kind of like, cool, Lan is now going on vacation.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Good to know.
Good to know.
I just wish I knew, like, I wish I knew, like, what the point of Lan's story in this was halfway through.
That was to set up that he's not going to take a break. They're going to take a small break before going to the Blight where Moiraine is going to meet him. So, sure, yeah.
That's not driven by his character, though.
No,
like,
no.
I wish that...
It's that he has a problem and he is addicted to the Blight. Lan has a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to the White Tower.
I did like the one thing I did like about it was Lan really respects Pedronile. Like the other people are like, God, I hope Pedronile is not an idiot, and Lan is like, he's not. He's really good at this. Don't worry about it. That was interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the Lan stuff. That's all the Lan stuff we got this week, and I don't know. I just wish that he
wish there was a little bit more.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Or just a little bit more to it. Like it's really cool, and like everything that is written about him is interesting.
Yeah.
It just isn't leading to anything.
Yeah.
No.
Well, we'll get there, I guess. Back at the tower.
Yes.
Meanwhile,
in the Legion of Doom, business in the city. They go dress shopping. I feel like we've talked about that enough that
we kind of did talk about. Did we miss?
They get $1,000 a year.
We missed the most important scene.
What?
Wait, did we get Swan's POV? Is that yet? No, is that after this?
I think it's after this, isn't it?
Okay, never mind. I was like, we can't skip that one. Yeah, so they go dress shopping. Swan has no tact. Oh, they get their stipend. 1,000
gold crowns. They can ask for more, but don't do it. Because if you do it, or do it occasionally, but if you do it too much.
They will ask questions.
How does the White Tower have money?
They tax Tarvalon really heavily.
Yeah, maybe that's enough money. I guess it's an 11-mile city. There's probably a lot of trade coming in and out.
Well, it's a huge trading hub. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
For ships and land, because the bridges.
That must be it, right? You would think the Yellows would, like, have hospitals. And that, like, they would have, like, income.
Yeah. There's no way 1,000 crowns is, like, several $1 million. Because if one silk dress is 10 gold, 10 crowns, I don't think it's that much money. It's a lot of money.
I would say 1,000 gold crowns would be like $150,000.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, several $1 million isn't realistic. But I think that if 1,000 crowns is what a really successful merchant makes in a year, then I would say it's probably like $150,000.
Yeah, like only like the top like 0.1% of merchants make that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and then like it's what like a minor noble has. But if it was $7 million, then it would be
that's
what
like
a king.
Yeah, I'm assuming. Yeah. But yeah, so did they go to the dresses first or the bank first?
They go to the bank first.
Go to the bank. Although I did write down in my notes that Swan is Mr. Krabs. And Swan refuses to put her money in a bank and instead keeps it in her mattress.
No, she keeps it in the Bank of Tarvalon.
Swan?
Yeah,
no.
She keeps it in the White Tower Bank.
The White Tower Bank. Oh, I thought she literally kept it in her room.
No.
She doesn't trust them.
So there is a White Tower Bank. And all of the Ajas have to be represented equally in that bank. But Moiraine has a personal banker who handles her finances.
I thought Moiraine was like, nah, fuck the institution. I am keeping every single gold in my pocket.
No.
Cool.
There is a bank in the White Tower.
I missed that.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I mean, sorry, no, I did know that there was a bank in the White Tower. I just thought... Anyways, it doesn't matter.
But Swan doesn't have any money. She just has a piece of paper saying that she's owed money.
Basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, Moiraine goes to the bank with her private banker, who's very, very good. She's the best banker.
Michael Kioski says Swan grew up on a bank. That is so funny.
Wow.
So Moiraine goes, and her banker's like, hey, so someone tried to steal all of your money, and
I sent you a letter, and she's like, what if I wanted to hear this letter with fresh ears?
Maybe if you say it out loud, something will come to me.
Yeah. Well done.
I loved it.
Well done.
And so she, so someone came, said that Tamra, the
Amerlin seat was to give her access.
Was to give this guy access to all of her account information.
Yeah, and she was like, no, fuck you.
I know Tamra's signature.
Yeah, this is not it. But
I love that detail.
They were not able to apprehend him. He escaped. So he's somewhere, he's somewhere about.
I wish this detail had come 7 chapters sooner in the book.
Oh, she'd got the letter. Well, no, she got the letter.
No, not the letter. I wish that she had gone to her bank sooner because this is chapter 13. We're like halfway through the book.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, fuck the plot. It started here. Everything up until this point is information.
Yeah.
This is the plot of this book. It finally appeared. And I was like, oh, thank God something happened.
I mean,
because I was starting to get worried.
The plot started when Moiraine realizes that they're trying to put her on the throne.
But I know that that's not successful.
I see what you're saying.
Yes, yeah. There is like the like, but nobody is obliquely doing anything about that the entire time, right? Like Moiraine figures out that at some point in the near future, they're going to want her to do this thing that she doesn't want to do. That is information, but we do not see anybody acting towards that goal in the first 13 chapters. We just know that Moiraine thinks that it's going to happen.
Right. I see what you're saying.
This happens. She goes to the bank, and the banker is like, there is something that happens in this book. Like, somebody is actually working towards their goals.
Yeah.
And this is kind of the first time we really see characters working towards their goals. And I was like, oh, thank God.
You're like, oh my God.
It's chapter 13.
Yeah.
We're getting to the end of the reading for the week. And I was like, I'm a little worried I'm going to go into this book club and being like, guys, this is a lot of information towards no end.
Yeah.
And then in chapter 13, they were like, there's an assassin, there's bribery, there's lying about the Amerlin signature.
Subterfuge.
There's a man who escaped who's after you. I was like, oh, fucking thank God. Okay. It took a little too long.
And then
this should have been earlier so that we knew that people were actively doing things instead of just wanting to do things eventually. But I was like, fuck, yes. Thank you, Robert. You introduced characters making actions.
Yeah. Colonel Sanders, I don't know how to turn that off. They just moved to the sounds. I genuinely don't know how to turn that off.
Wait, what?
The lights.
They moved to sound?
Yes. And I don't know how to change it.
Wait, really?
Like if you yell really loudly.
Bop. Bop, bop,
oh, never mind. You fix it. I swear, I tried to fix it.
Now it'll move a little bit slower.
I tried to fix it. I was
one
like,
button.
This is so weird.
I didn't realize they had a voice setting.
Anyway, so we go from plot point to buying dresses, which is very Robert Jordan, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it was great.
It was actually great.
Chapter 13 is like banger.
Yeah, they find the best, possibly whatever, the best seamstress. And Swan has absolutely Swan cannot talk to people.
Yeah.
But also this whole all the subtleties with how to negotiate with your dressmaker. I feel like if you're paying them money, you should be no lace.
No, that is not how that works.
Apparently that's not how that works, but at least it's not hairdressers or perfumers because oh my God.
Okay, but if someone is making a dress for you, they're not making you off the rack clothes. You as a model, I feel like you should respect there is an artistry to clothing.
Okay, yeah, if I'm modeling someone's clothing design for promotion, but if I am paying you money for it, you shouldn't make it in a lighter color than I want.
No, because it's their art. If you want designer handmade dresses, then you are negotiating with an artist for because what you wear is a statement on their artistry.
But they should be talented enough to make the darker colors look good too.
Sure. But if you're buying 20 dresses from a artist, if you're going to the best of the best, you do not get to choose what you wear. That is true in our world. And like, if you show up to a designer and ask them to make clothes for you that are one of a kind, hand stitched, they get some input in what you're going to be wearing, because that is their art. I agree with that 100%.
I guess.
And I think that there's a lot of decorum in going to a designer. Like, I've had a suit made for me, and like there is an element of it where like that is their blood, sweat, and tears. That to them is as important to them in their life as my performance on stages. And if a director came up to me and was like, I want to take all the things that you enjoy about performing out of your performance and do it exactly like this, it would be like someone giving you a line reading in a rehearsal room.
Yeah, okay.
If you're going to a really nice designer, you acquiesce to their art a little bit. You meet in the middle, right?
Yes, I just feel like because you are paying money, you should have... I just feel like you don't have enough say when you're giving them that amount of money. But I did find it fascinating.
Here is the problem. The more money you're paying for those clothes, the less say you have in what they look like.
Yeah,
that is the reality of the world. The fancier and more expensive the designer, the more input they get into what you wear.
Okay, all right. I guess I don't buy nice clothes, so.
Well, and like it's very like we don't.
That's
have
like red
handmade...
carpet level. Yeah.
But when you're the king and queen, when you're Aes Sedai, you're not wearing like. You're not going to Saks Fifth Avenue.
You're not going to Zara.
You're going to the person whose like lowest level creations are in Saks Fifth Avenue. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. I thought it was fascinating. I was just like, I don't know if I would like this at all.
I would. I don't fucking know. Use your artistry. Make me look beautiful.
Yeah.
They know better than I do. You know what I mean? I'm not a professional in clothes. If I go to a designer and they're like, tell us exactly what you want, I'm like, I wear the same Star Wars sweatpants every day. You fucking decide. Why are you asking me?
All right, fair enough.
I wear my merch in the hopes that people will go to fourthwallshop.com/nerdynightly and buy my merch. Like, I'm not out here looking nice. This shirt does not fit that well. It's comfy as fuck. Because Fourth Wall has incredible honestly, fabrics that you can choose from. And it's our shirts are a little bit more expensive, but we choose to use the better fabrics because I actually like wearing my merch instead of getting the like Gildan cotton
the
and you're
starchy,
like,
No starchy t-shirts, I promise.
Anyway, that was a little plug. But like if I'm going to a designer, you tell me. You're the professional. Why are you asking me what I want?
All right, I concede. I get it.
But the riding dresses should be dark. I agree with that because they're going to get dirty. You don't want light colored riding dresses.
True, yeah. That's true.
And then they go back to the rooms, and Swan is so pleased with Moiraine that Swan could have kissed her.
In fact, she did.
Lesbians!
My favorite thing is doing the reactions to the show and people being like, why'd they go woke and make the girls lesbians? And I'm like, did you not read New Spring? Did you not pick this up and read through it? Because they're gay! Like...
She could have kissed her. In fact,
she did.
It's not even a like they kissed and then they went and did something else. It's a kiss and a fade to black alone in their bedrooms.
Yeah, 100%. I also wrote down that like earlier in the book, like Moiraine talks about how she has feelings for Swan that she's never had before.
Yeah.
Swan and her can still feel tingles when the other channels,
100%,
which should not be a thing anymore. Like they have this intrinsic deep connection, and people thought that they are just friends.
They're roommates.
Yeah.
They're just roommates, Clarus. I don't know what to tell you. They are just roommates.
Yeah.
Chapter 14. What is this one called? Changes. Change is time to face the change, 'cause Tamra is dead, and there is a new Amelin. It's a Grey who is a CUNT.
Nailed it. Oh my god.
Moiraine and Swan are learning a bunch of things. The water bond, in case they want a water. Do you think Reds learn the bond, or do they just not even teach it to them?
No, I'm sure they learn it.
They're learning it from their Aja. No,
I'm sure that they do learn it because them not knowing it would mean the other Ajas have a one-up on stuff that they know and they don't. Like, they would learn it for posterity. So they can say, yeah, I know how to. I
disagree. I do not think the Reds would teach it.
Yeah.
They might, like, watch it happen and, like, know it. Yeah. But I don't think they would, like, teach it day one.
Yeah.
The way that the Blues learn it so fast.
Yeah. Turvok, we already discussed. We know that they're bi.
Yeah, they're bi.
Yeah.
But bi is gay.
Yes.
Bi is 50% gay, which is gay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some days I'm more gay than not gay, you know?
Which days are those? Just so I know. For my sake, which days are you more gay?
I'll let you know. The days I'm doing photo shoots.
That's true. Oh, those behind the scenes. On a different website.
Anyways.
Elid is summoned for her test.
Uh-huh.
She dies.
She disappears, and never comes out to be seen again.
Tamra dies. Moiraine, okay, so Moiraine, this is fucking weird. This is gonna be a long episode. God, it's already 2:45.
Oopsie.
So, Moiraine thinks that because she thinks that Tamra dying might help her get out of her banking job, that she deserves a penance. And so she wears her sluttiest dress to Tamra's funeral as punishment to herself?
Yeah.
This was wild.
This is some weird religious crap that I have never been able to understand. The whole, like, penance thing. Like,
but the penance being, I'm going to go to this, I disrespected this woman in my head.
Yeah.
And so as penance, I'm going to disrespect her by showing up to her funeral in my sluttiest dress.
And also the closest thing to white, which is actually the mourning color, which is weird.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you wear the lightest colored dress, even if you don't have pure white, because I didn't understand it.
Yeah, and then she's so ashamed that she wore her slutty dress to the funeral that she burns the dress.
It's a waste of 10 gold, but I guess when you're that rich, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was like, okay, good punishment.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, God, that Moiraine really wants to, like...
What a hoe.
He was a hoe before me. Only the Twitch people know what that's a reference to.
She's nothing like a girl you've ever seen before.
The whole penance thing, I didn't really get it, but it was interesting.
Penance makes no sense to me. People are dead.
Do you think someone killed Tamra?
Do I think someone killed Tamra?
She died in her sleep.
I mean, yeah.
It would make the second half of the book more interesting if we found out that was the case.
I do think it's weird that they would both drop dead within a few weeks of one another.
But Guitar didn't drop dead. Guitara was the stress of the foretelling.
Probably.
It gave her a heart attack, right? I'm assuming is what happened.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Oh my God! Wait.
What?
Sir Jeremish just said Moiraine is Richie Rich, Princess Aes Sedai. We forgot about something.
What?
When she's like, "Oh no, am I gonna pass my Aes Sedai test?" She's thinking about it, and there's a moment where Moiraine is like, if I don't pass, I'm still rich.
Still rich. I have estates. I can build that shit up. I got stocks and bonds and investments and things.
Guys, it is so fun to talk about a book where so much happens that fitting all of the things that happen in is hard to do in 3 hours. Like, this book is, like, legitimately, I enjoyed reading New Spring.
Me too.
Yeah. This book is fun. Mm-hmm. This is one of my favorite Wheel of Time books.
Yeah, people were like, skip
focused.
It. People were like, skip it. I'm like, fuck no.
This is better. I'm not going to lie. This is better than most of the other books. Just because of how focused it is. And how, like, intent it is on its characters and the story that it is telling. Mm-hmm. The drawback of this book is that I know the answers to most of the questions. So, like, I wish I didn't because it is well written.
Yeah, there's not a lot we can, like, predict in here, which that's fine.
Yeah.
Not a huge deal.
But this is, in my opinion, this is one of the better Wheel of Time books. Mm-hmm. Honestly, no joke.
Oh, the other thing that is stupid that I wrote down about the White Tower is that you're expected to have a perfect internal clock so you're not late for things.
Oh, because the chimes don't make it to the accepted rooms.
I would fail immediately.
Because clocks are expensive, yeah.
How does that make any... Anyways, sorry. I wrote that down because I was like, this... Anyways, we're moving on. But yeah, I was like, what the actual fuck?
Oh, Methany, thank you for that super chat.
Thank you so much.
Wow, I took various trains through half of Germany. You're still at it. Can't wait to watch with my cat, Sammy. You kids have fun. Thank you, Methany.
Thank you, Methany.
Enjoy Germany.
You.
Sierran Vayu of the Grey Ashes is raised to Amerlin. She's a very strict woman.
Yeah, everyone thought she was going to be a red, but instead her keeper is red.
Yeah, and her keeper and her mistress of novices
are both red,
So Aeldra has lost her job, and Moiraine has lost her job.
Yeah.
Aeldra had that job for like a week.
Yeah, poor girl.
The shortest keeper in the history of the White Tower.
Well, maybe.
It reminded me of when Anthony Scaramucci was Trump's... when he was the press secretary for like 6 days.
Yeah.
Guys, do you remember when the Scaramouche was the press secretary? That was a good week. That was a fun... Like, Stephen Colbert's show that week, they just had so much material.
Yes. Colbert.
Yeah, God, I loved the Scaramouche days. It was a fun 6 days.
Mm-hmm.
Moiraine goes to Sierran and is like, hey, I'm not an accountant. Can I stop being an accountant? And Sierran's like, yeah, I don't care. Have a Brown do it.
Yeah.
So Varen probably takes over that job.
Yeah.
And so then Moiraine is like, but Sierran is like, you have to stay here because we're going to need you soon. And Moiraine is like, fuck. And
so she gets the fuck out of it.
So she goes and gives Swan a little kissy kiss.
Yeah.
They have a little fucky fuck. And then
Probably.
she just leaves.
Pretty much, yeah.
Just Plus Infinity says, our Prime Minister Liz Truss lasted 4 Scaramucci's. That is the funniest way to measure time. How long were you Prime Minister? 4 Scaramucci's.
Remember when we measured relationships in Kanye's and Kim's marriage?
What?
If it lasted longer?
I don't.
Because it was only, 90 days? No, just like collectively as a species. We were like, did it last longer or shorter than...
Kim and Kanye?
Yeah, wasn't it like 90 days?
Weren't they married for like 6 years? They have like 3 kids together.
Am I thinking of somebody else?
Are you talking about Britney and Kevin Federer?
No.
Because they were married for 44 days, I think. I think that's right.
No, there was somebody that was...
No, Kanye and Kim were married for a while. They have like kids.
Yeah, I know they have kids, but...
Yeah, I know.
There was somebody where it was like 90 days, and I don't know.
Federline, not Roger Federer. Right. Guys, I am dyslexic. Don't judge me. Don't judge me.
Yeah, anyways, doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. Moiraine runs away. She's like, I'm going on an adventure.
Which she has planned. Like, her banker has, like, money ready for her. And then she goes to her dressmaker. She gets, like, some foot pads to help carry her traveling case. Mm-hmm. And then she goes to the dock. She goes to North Harbor. And she gets on the clitoris boat. And as she's pulling away from the clitoris, which is not something lesbians usually do. They usually stay there for hours.
No.
She looks back, and the man who tried to get her contact info is still stalking her. And she goes, fuck, there's an assassin after me. The White Tower is going to want me back.
How fast does your ship go? Time
for Moiraine on the run.
Yeah.
And that's where we leave off. What an end to the first half of the book.
Yeah. And you know, it's a little over halfway, but I think it was the perfect stopping point.
Yeah, this was fun. Mm-hmm. Guys, New Spring is good. I don't understand the people who are like, don't read New Spring, don't worry about it. This book is like one of the better Wheel of Time books.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
It's not as epic as the other ones, but I actually think that Robert Jordan's writing suffers from how epic the Wheel of Time is, and he gets so caught up in describing the epicness that the narrative is getting lost in those books. And having a book where the narrative can't get lost because you only have this one book to tell the story, I actually think his writing here is really strong consistently. Yeah. And I'm enjoying the characterizations. Look, we have a lot of complaints about the White Tower as an institution, but the way he writes that institution is very well done.
Yeah, and it's meant to be dysfunctional.
Yeah.
I don't think that was not intentional. Michael, thank you for that super chat. Predictions for what chapter Moiraine and Lan meet. I don't know about chapter, but I think they meet, like, there.
I feel like there has to be a time jump, right?
Oh, that was chapter 24. Chapter 24 is when they meet.
Sure.
That's my guess.
Chapter 24. We'll go with that.
I literally opened it to a random page, and it just happened to be a chapter, so that worked out nicely.
But yeah, like, I don't know. Unlike the slog, this was a joy to read. I have look, I'm making fun of things within the world. And that's not me calling them bad. That's not me being negative about the book. I'm having fun with the idea. Like, with the idea of an Aes Sedai trying to figure out how the Terangro works. That's just funny to me.
Yeah.
That's not me being negative about the book. I really enjoyed reading. Like, of the Wheel of Time books that we've been reading, I have not enjoyed a book this much since Lord of Chaos was 6.
Yeah. 7 had good stuff in it, but, you know, 7 is definitely where it started to be like, eh. So, yeah, somewhere in
like,
there.
this is really fun.
Mm-hmm.
This is fun, and I'm just really into it.
Yeah.
I also just like Moiraine. I think that Moiraine is one of the stronger characters in the series, and that is still evident here. Like, this is she is missed. Her presence in the books is really missed, in my opinion. She is one of the more complicated in terms of, like, she's a very varied personality as a woman, and I think that after she left the series, the female characters that have replaced her role in the series are not as strong or as, like, fully realized as she is.
Yeah.
And I do miss her, and so getting more with her is just emphasizing how much I miss her in the main series.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah.
James Ross, thank you for that super chat. Trust me, all these fish puns have a purpose. Fuck off.
Yeah, I've been ignoring the fish puns in chat. I hope you guys have been having fun. Fabu will not be a mod next week. They're being banned for their puns. Kicked out of the
Fabu, we love you.
franchise.
Can't wait to see you
that is Nerdy Nightly.
in April. I would love for Fabu to give us a summary of what they think happens in the Wheel of Time.
They probably know a lot of it. They're here a lot.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Fabu, we're gonna see you in 2 months. That's crazy.
I know. We're gonna see Dakuna in 2 months too.
Clarisse, do you want to do some high-low?
Yeah.
Wait, we're gonna see Dakuna where?
In England.
Right, Manchester, England. Across the Atlantic Sea.
Why?
And I'm a genius. I believe in God. I believe that God believes in me. What musical is that from?
I don't know. Fucking Newsies? No, it's not Newsies. Oliver? I don't know.
It's Hair.
Hair? Yeah, I haven't seen Hair.
Hair.
I got my eyes,
Never
I got
do
my
that
nose,
again,
I got
Nerdy.
my face, I got my tits, I got my fingers and my hands, I got my knees, I got my toes.
I understand how you feel when I get lyrics wrong now. Clarisse, this is going to be high-low. It's a thing that my family did at the the dinner table.
The breakfast
where
table.
we would commiserate over each other's lows and celebrate each other's highs to bring us closer together as a family. We do this in 4 parts. Clarisse gives her high, I give my low. She gives her low, I give my high. We do it in that order so that we complement sandwich this biche. For now, though, Clarisse, what is your high from the first half of New Spring?
My high is Swan and Maureen's relationship.
Oh.
Honestly, I think it's beautiful.
It's well done.
I think that, like, the subtle mentions, I mean, they're not even that subtle, but the lead up to, like, especially that, like, kiss, you know, Swan is like, she's not pretty, she's beautiful. And I was like,
Yeah.
Like,
she's not a pretty porcelain doll. She's a beautiful porcelain doll.
Yeah. And how they complement one another and how they differ from one another.
Yeah.
Yes, I really enjoy the writing of these women, and I don't always enjoy the writing of the women.
Yes.
That Robert Jordan does all the time, but they are fantastic. I think Moiraine has always been one of the strongest characters. And Swan has always been fascinating as well.
Yeah.
And so it's been a real treat to see them 20 years earlier. I think, well done. That is definitely my high. What's your low?
Ulrikino says, one of these days I want you two to swap seats. People riot when we swap seats.
People get very upset.
People get very upset when we swap seats.
Yeah.
My low is, that's actually tough. Like, honestly, like, there's things, like, there's things that my low is that, like, I wish the White Tower was more different from where we found it at the beginning of the Wheel of Time.
Okay.
That's it. Like, I just wish there was more variety in the, like, decay of the White Tower. I feel like we're already too far along that path for it to be interesting in this book. But even that's minor. Like, I'm really enjoying reading this, so.
Yeah, Milo is related, and it's a lot of the, like, how the fuck the White Tower is still a functioning thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, Aleda really should have been punished.
Yeah.
Like, there's stuff in there that is mind-boggling to me, but I think does serve the writing in a way that, like, I can understand. But it's, I'm like, how?
Yeah, Robert Jordan's world building is so fun, but if you think about it at all, It's like when we got it, we were talking about the languages in the Wheel of Time on Tuesday. And it's like, if you think about the Wheel of Time world too hard, it really falls apart. But the world building, it seems fun on the surface, though.
Yeah.
But because he describes things in such detail, if you want your fantasy world to make sense, you have to leave it vague.
Leave some of the details out, yeah.
But because he puts in so many details, it opens the world up to questions about, like, wait, everyone speaks the same language even though they've been disconnected on 2 different continents for 1,500 years.
Yeah.
And they started at a completely different language, but both of those different continents evolved the language to the same language and can communicate, but with different accents. Because the accent implies that the Sanshins speak a different language, but it's very complicated.
Yeah, don't think about it.
So yeah, no, I agree with that.
What's your high?
High. It's the final test. It's Moiraine.
It's the final countdown.
It's the moment where Moiraine walks past her father, but still says that she loves him and wants him to pass a message to her mom, even though she knows that that's not actually her dad. But like, it's that moment of, for Moiraine, the moment of embracing who she truly is.
Yeah.
Without anger and without enmity and without like fear. It's cruel. Like, she's sad about it, but she's not scared to make that choice. She is fully realized herself in that moment. And I love that element so much.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I think there's some really good stuff in this book, and I'm so glad that we didn't skip it, you know?
Yeah.
Because there are people who are like, yeah, no, skip New Spring. I'm like, no, this shit's great. I love it.
Yeah, it's been a nice palate cleanse from Crossroads of Twilight, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But with that is the end of the Nerdy Wordy Book Club for this week. There is going to be a very, very sapphic smut corner soon. But for those of you who don't want to stick around for that, my name is Nerdy. You can follow me at nerdynightly.
And I'm at Claris Polaris.
This has been a production of the Nerdy Nightly Entertainment Company.
All right.
If you like this video, like and subscribe to the channel. If you don't, hit the dislike button. Leave me comments down below because the algorithm god is hungry. And we must feed her. If you are on Apple Podcasts, rate this podcast 5 stars. Leave a message. We will read it on the podcast at some point. And that is the easiest way and the cheapest way, because it's free, to help this little podcast continue to be this little podcast.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to grow at this point until we start another series, because...
we found all the Wheel of Time people. Unless we go to Jordan Con and there are people who, like, didn't know.
Have never heard of us before?
Yeah, they're like, Nerdy Wordy? What? No, don't know it. I don't know her.
Yeah, if you're leaving us before Smut Corner, goodbye. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week. No book club next week. 2 weeks.
Oh, sorry. Yes,
we're in Washington, D.C. next week.
Con, unfortunately.
So in 2 weeks, we will finish New Spring. 3 weeks, we will start Knife of Dreams.
Very exciting.
But yeah, we won't see you next week. Sorry about that. We are going to be out of town.
Yeah. It is what it is. Smut.
Smut Corner.
Man, if we didn't get that Fade to Black.
I know. I know. Do you think they have toys? Do you think that they like are or is it just like tongues and fingers?
Well, I think that you can use the one power as a toy.
That's not a chore.
Not a chore, right?
I mean, some women see sex as a chore because their husbands suck, but
True. Yeah, we already know that there are ter'angreals that vibrate. Maybe some of them have, stashed those for themselves.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a way that you can use the one power to help out with things, for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
That's definitely a possibility.
The strap-on Grial.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot of characters in this, like, section, so it's either, like, White Tower people or, like, Lan. And I don't know if Lan is, like, boinking.
Do you think not Morel, who's their, like, third friend? Is it Morel? It's one of the M names. Mm-hmm. Do you think they ever have a threesome with her? I think they do. I think, because she doesn't seem to have a best friend, and I think that there's nights where she's a little bit lonely, and she, like, goes to Moiraine and Swan to see what they're up to. They're they're getting hot and heavy.
Yeah.
Right? And she's like, I'm lonely. Can I, like, join in?
Hey, guys.
Can we daisy chain this?
Here's the thing. Morale has to pass her test first, because now they're like...
No, I'm saying when they were accepted.
When they were accepted? Yeah, probably.
I don't think... I
also think that Leanne did as well before Leanne became Aes Sedai, right? Leanne was like, guys, I am Damani. I got all these little tricks and tips and secret ways.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm going to teach you. We're going to figure this out together. Don't worry. You're in good hands.
I wish that this book opened with a chapter that was just describing all of the people having sex in 9 months before Rand is born. And so it's all of the different people who fucked.
The smut corner is not the taking of the list.
Yeah.
It's the actual...
It's the conception of all of those babies. And the camera just zooms around Randland to different people having sex in different countries.
So many babies. It's like no. It's like Good Luck Chuck.
Yeah.
Where he's having sex with all of these random women, and it's like there's like 30 boxes on the screen that are just different positions.
The sex spot showed up for the smut corner.
Good timing.
What better way to end the podcast?
Truly.
We'll see you in 2 weeks, y'all.
Bye,
Do something
guys.
nerdy tonight. Thank you to mods.
Yeah.
Mods.
Everybody.
No, not everybody can be mods.
No, sorry, just no.
Some of you hooligans would not be able to handle the power.
Sorry, our mods are not hooligans.
You have not. Our mods are responsible hooligans. Okay, they've been raised to Aes Sedai. They were mods when they were before they were mods. They were accepted, and then they passed the test and they became mods.
Smash that like button.
Bye.
Bye.